process, isn't it? Thank you very much for joining us and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
So here with Archie O'Brien, who's basically doing every class at this point. Archie, you know, you're doing multiple classes, but so far it's been a pretty successful year to you. Now we're heading for Rowrah. How are you feeling overall?
I feel really happy, obviously, leading both championships. There was a bit of pressure here and there, but I feel more confident now that we're at one of my stronger tracks.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, you know, leading both championships, as you said, a lot of pressure. Do you think you've coped with that well?
Here and there, because sometimes I've felt a bit too pressured and other times I've just not cared about it. So.
Well, as you said, you're leading both championships, so it's certainly not bad. And you mentioned, you know, Rowrah was one of your stronger tracks. What do you like so much about it here?
Well, it's more of a fast-flowing track than a tight track, and I like the fast-flowing sections of any track, really, so...
Well, who doesn't love a nice little fast-flowing section? That being said, you know, this is probably the only day of dry running we're going to have. It's supposed to rain both Saturday and Sunday. Does that make it a bit worse for you, or do you enjoy riding in the wet?
You don't necessarily have to enjoy the wet. You just don't have to dislike it. You just got to sort of ride as you can and be careful.
That is one of the best answers I've had to that question all day. You know, how do you think the day's running so far? Obviously halfway through Friday. Do you think it's been a pretty solid, you know, practice day so far?
Yeah, well, we're just sort of building into it as the day goes on. So, yeah, pretty happy with how it's gone so far.
And then, you know, just looking forward, is the plan to win all 3 races in both classes and then go and dominate the championship and you'll go home happy?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Archie, and good luck out there.
Thank you.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Hello, good morning to everyone out there. We are here for the 5th round of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships, and we are live at Rowrah in the Lake District. And well, overnight, as Ross predicted yesterday, the rain did come, and the circuit is very much not looking in the same condition to what we saw yesterday. It is slippery, it's damp. We've already seen a few riders go down in the wet today. We've got the final of the warm-up sessions before we kick off all of our racing throughout the rest of the day, which will, well, to kick off for the race 2s will be the AC40 rookies. They'll be up first. And, well, Ross, tricky conditions out there. We've seen a lot of standing water. These bikes are trying to disperse as we've had all 10 classes go around and try and get rid of the majority of the puddles, but it's still very difficult out there.
Yeah, indeed it is. I mean, we've seen a few riders go down over the practice sessions, which obviously isn't ideal. Harry Payne actually, we believe he may have been knocked out. They called the ambulance over, but he did get back up and was able to walk back to the paddock. But it's, yeah, you can see there's a bike stop there already, the number 65 Moto team bike. It's very, very tricky out there. It is deceptively wet. It doesn't look too bad on your screen, but I can tell you that the rain is coming down. It's only a light drizzle, but it's been coming down hard all night, and it's not too enjoyable out there for the moment. So as Gareth said, we are just coming to the end of our practice session here for the Extreme 200s and Moto team, and we'll be getting underway with the AC40 rookies for their second race of the weekend. Of course, we had our first races in all of the classes yesterday afternoon in the lovely sunny-ish weather, and it was a little bit windy as well, but not too bad today. There's no wind, but it is raining instead, just to dampen our hopes. So we're just waiting now, just a little over 3.5 minutes left until the end of this warm-up session, and then we'll be getting underway for the AC40s. And as we just wait for it to all kick off, as you can just see here some lovely panoramic shots. As you can see there, as we are situated here in this quarry at Rowrah, obviously the track built in an old quarry all the way back in 1963, and it's a pretty picturesque background. Apologies, we've just had a few technical issues. I've just been deafened by my producer, but it's a pretty picturesque background there, and yeah, even with the rain coming down, it does look quite nice here, but that does mean that it's going to be a bit awkward if you go off tracks. There's a lot of gravel, a lot of rocks, a lot of dirt, and now that's mud as well with the rain coming down, Gareth.
That'll wake you up in the morning, won't it? That's just been blasted to you. No one can tell that we've just been absolutely obliterated through the years. But well, yeah, as you say, it's a very Lake District day up here, but it is a beautiful circuit nonetheless, and we are here for some racing. We've got the race 2s and race 3s coming up today. AC40 rookies, and then of course we go over to the likes of the GP50s. They'll be up, and what can Marco Holt do? He is on a charge trying to catch Clayton Edmonds in that championship. He's taken the last 3 wins on bets, and well, it's It's said to be a fantastic weekend's racing. We had a really, really solid day yesterday in the dry, and well, I almost completely lost my voice celebrating Filip Sorowiak taking his first win in the 70s. And I was speaking to Tristan Finocchiaro, the usual FAB commentator, alongside me, and he was saying he was in the media room at Donington yesterday, where he's covering the British Talent Cup, and he was screaming at his phone as Filip crossed the line. Both of us have really enjoyed watching Filip's progression, and to see him finally get that win here at Rowrah is very, very good indeed. And we were very happy, absolutely for him. And but this time around, I was looking at the practice times, and Mason Foster is looking very, very quick indeed in that 70 category. Of course, the final step of FAB. Ethan Sparks, however, and I got some messaging from the Sparks camp, suffering with an engine issue yesterday, which may be a reason why we saw him off the pace. It was we saw him go down in Q2, had a problem with the bike that sent him down to the deck, and it looks as though he was suffering with it in the first race. So hopefully that's been fixed overnight, and we can see your championship leader, albeit very, very, it's just about championship leader. That gap now down to about 5 points. So that shows you just how crucial it was for Mason to finish ahead of Ethan, and then equally, just that slight issue for Ethan has cost him a potential, some crucial points in the championship, because you know when it's that tight, especially with the likes of Mason Foster chasing him, you really need to, effectively just needs to beat one person, and as soon as he gets ahead of him, that's it, done.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, especially as we get into the later stages of the championship, at this point, every single point that these riders can score matters, and having those engine issues is just the last thing you need coming into this round at Rowrah. Obviously, as you said, we saw him go down in the second qualifying session, and while he did manage to get up to third in the race, his charge forward was just halted about halfway through. He just could not do anything, and as the two riders in front streaked away, he streaked away from everyone behind him. He was just in a bit of a no man's land situation. Hopefully they've got that solved, as you said. Maybe we'll be seeing him up the front battling it out today for the win if he can, but again, as you said, Mason Foster looking very, very quick in the wet practice sessions, so we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen in the 70s race 2 and obviously race 3 as well this afternoon. Hopefully the conditions are a little bit nicer when that comes about. We can see that number 65 bike still struggling with issues out there in practice. Hopefully they can get that sorted for the races. But yeah, as you said, Mason Foster on that 88 is looking very, very quick. He was quick yesterday in practice. He was quick in qualifying, quick in race 1. Filip Sorowiak obviously was very, very strong on the defensive and was able to take his first win, but we'll just have to see what he's able to do. And who's your money off this weekend in the 70s and in all of the classes here at FAB-Racing round 5 at Rowrah? Don't be afraid to get in contact, obviously on social media, in the comments. We're always reading, always watching, and seeing what you guys think is going to happen. And obviously now that it's a bit wet outside as well, it's all going to be shaken up, so really it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, so do get in touch with us. It's always great to hear from you guys, and I hope you're having a lovely Sunday wherever you are around the world. We know that we have a lot of international fans and viewers and family and friends of all the riders here throughout all categories, so yeah, do get in touch and do all the good stuff you do on the socials, like, share, subscribe, follow, all those stuff that you can do on all the different platforms that we are running on. Of course, you can find us over on FAB-Racing, over on their Facebook page, over on their YouTube page, where you can find uploaded highlights throughout the week, and equally you can grab them over on Motorsport Radio, on motorsport.radio, the world's only 24/7 motorsport dedicated radio show, going all things from 2 wheels to 3 wheels to 4 wheels and more. And coverage all for free. You've got the likes of the Breakfast Show with Lester Forbes and Kiko Jars. You've got me on a Sunday afternoon if you'd like to listen to it every now and then. But that's not quite the use of a motorcycle. You're meant to use the wheels, not your legs. But managing to get it back into the side. But that's the Moto team. Watch out for the Moto team later, because Josh Birkin, he's on Jamie King's bike this weekend. Won a competition on Jamie King's YouTube channel to have a go on the bike this weekend, and this time around it is Josh Birkin that's gone for it. And so looking forward to that one. Well, what have we got coming up? Well, I'll go through the schedule so you can all set yourself some timings, because you'll know that each race is around about 10 to 15 minutes. So first up, we've got the AC40 rookies. They'll be the first race of the day, their second race of the weekend. Then we go up to the Metro Kits, the MKGP 50s. the likes of Marco Holt and Clayton Edmonds. Senior Mini Motos are third up with the LC40 Elite, making it a double spin Ford Mini Motos. Pit Bike 140s, then the AC40 Pros. Then comes the top class, the Mini GP 70s, the Mini F1 Sidecars, and Extreme 200s and Moto team. Like we've just seen in final practice, they will be up last. And then we'll go for a lunch break. Then we'll come back and we'll do it all over again as the rookies roll out of the paddock onto the grid. And, this is going to be their first lap in anger in these conditions. And it's going to be tricky because we've seen that, a number of riders tend to do better in the wet. We saw Beth Ashby pick up a win in the wet back at Clay Pigeon, becoming only the second ever female race winner here at FAB. What can she do? She'll be going from third on the grid. And, I've got Ross McIntyre alongside me. My name is Gareth Hall, as usual, covering FAB. And, I've been joined once again by my very handy co-commentator for the rookies, rookie rider himself, out, unfortunately, with a broken collarbone. It's Zach Speed Pennegar. How are you doing? Good morning, Zach.
Good morning.
So, yesterday, you sat with me and we watched the race, and you were wanting Bradley to do well yesterday. He managed to get himself a podium. So, how was? Did you manage to chat to Bradley back in the paddock? How was he feeling?
He was feeling quite good. He was quite excited that he got on the podium.
And Oliver Hall winning the race yesterday. He's leading that championship. Obviously, you're hoping to hold on to that second position in that championship. You weren't very happy with the paramedics telling you that you've got that broken collarbone. And you can see the likes of Matthew Thomas and some of the others that are trying to fight for that second place. But how are you feeling? What are you thinking coming into this one? Is it tell us a little bit of riding these bikes in the wet. What's it like?
I enjoy it a little bit more because you don't know what's going to happen, but in the dry you kind of know, I'm not going to crash. That not that bad, but for me it was kind of bad and dry.
We've got Oliver Hall on pole for this one, and we've got the rookies are about to go out there and trailblaze. I'm sure we've got a grid somewhere, Ross, haven't we? I'm sure you'll be able to supply one. We had one just next to us a few minutes ago, but we've got it is Oliver Hall on pole position. Bradley Curtis and Beth Ashby are definitely your front three in this one, and the rookies, they are, as I said, about to be the first bikes to go out there in anger, setting some serious lap times. And as we go down towards the hairpin for the first time, this is where we're seeing a lot of standing water, especially on exit. And Zach, when you're in the wet in conditions like this, is it easy to pick up the throttle too much in the wet and just spin the tyres and go down?
It's quite often that you're going to crash in the wet, but if you find the right line, you're not going to fall off because you know that if you use it, the line is going to get grippier and grippier.
Well, we'll find out if that is the case, but it will be Oliver Hall on pole position, Bradley Curtis in second place with Beth Ashby in third, Harley Baker in fourth with Jensen Bishop in fifth, Rex Austin alongside him, the 991 in sixth position. Row 4 is Annabelle McCarthy. She picked up her best result of the season yesterday, just outside of the podium, with Matthew Thomas in eighth position alongside her. Chloe Gleeson in ninth with Matthew Jennings in 10th, with Josh Perkins and Seth Mason-Hayward in 11th and 12th. Row 7 is Archie Hooper and Taylor Riley. 13th and 14th and 15th on the grid is Peyton Richards on the 18 machine as they all filter their way around the final corner, making their way up to the grid. And Ross, you got to stand at the side and watch the rookies race yesterday. This time we've got 3 commentators for this one, so you're going to have to do a third of the work. But how are you feeling for this one coming up?
Well, I'm excited. Obviously, this is the first time we're seeing wheels turned in anger in the wet. I was watching them in practice earlier, tentatively making their way around, trying to kind of gauge where the track's at, how the bike's feeling, what the tyres are doing. So it's going to be interesting in how they all handle across the race. But we should be getting the lights on and then off in just a moment's time as they line up on the grid. The marshals stand outside the way. All riders forming up now. Actually, no, there's just somebody out of position being put into the right place. Can't quite see who that is, but we can see there everybody out of the way. The lead marshal there now just waiting to drop the flag. Then the lights will go on, the lights will go off, and we'll be underway for the first race of today, the second race of the weekend for the AC40 rookies. And and there goes the marshal out of the way, and we now wait, and the light goes on, and there's 3 people going ready. The light goes off, we're underway. It's a very good start for Ollie Hall from the pole position, leads into the first turn. There was about 2 jump starts, I think, there in the background, but we all look to go clean. There's a bit of a wobble there from the red machine of the 75 as we head tentatively through the turn 1. There's a bike down at the exit of the first turn as well, but they're getting straight back on it. But it is Ollie Hall that leads into the first hairpin.
Matthew Jennings, that is.
And it's Matthew Jennings that's gone down there. Thank you, Zach, for backing me up there. But as I said, Ollie Hall leading the way. Look at the gap that he's got already. This guy is superb in the dry, and in the wet he's got so much confidence brimming from him as he streaks away at the front out of the second. Oh, and there's another rider down. Oh, 2 riders down at the hairpin. Oh, 3 now. That is 3 riders down there. All of them getting back on the bikes. That is not what you want at the first lap of a race.
So, Zach, tell us, who's gone down at that hairpin?
That's Archie, Josh, and Holly Baker.
So you can see 3 riders, as Zach just said, going down the hairpin. Very easy. The standing water up there is tricky. We've seen a number of riders on both the minis and on the bigger bikes struggling with the braking into the hairpins. As you can see, a little bit of puddling forming, and that's going to cause these guys to struggle a little bit when it comes to, of course, they're the first ones that are going out there and putting some serious laps in. But Oliver Hall already breaking away at the front of this one. He's the first one across the line at 1:16.2, puts in 1.4 seconds ahead of Bradley Curtis in second position. Rex Austin up in third, so Rex has made a really good start.
Yep, Rex is always getting good starts, and this Josh's dad and Archie's dad, they normally pop together, and they said, you need to talk about the commentators. Just tell them about Josh and Archie need more sponsors.
Well, there you go. Get some sponsorship into the AC40 rookie category, and it will help them, of course, massively. We've seen some riders come the 40s and made their way all the way through as well. Another rider down there at the same hairpin, so it's catching out a number of the riders. I believe that's the 113, sorry. That's Annabelle McCarthy. Annabelle, who had her best result yesterday, having the same issue as what we saw on lap 1, so it's just very easy to get it wrong down there. But Zach, just when you're in a position like this, how tricky is it when you're following someone? Would you rather be on your own in the wet, or are you quite happy following someone?
I would like to be on my own, because if there's somebody in front, there's more chance that if he crashes, that I'll go with him because he's in front.
Yeah, exactly so. That's what we saw back at Clay Pigeon in the AC40 Pro class with the likes of Archie O'Brien, Byron Johnson and Finlay Polhill, as Oliver Hall still breaking away, however being caught now by Rex Austin. Rex Austin really lighting up the timing sheets here, taking a second out of Oliver on that last lap and putting the pressure on. And you said that Rex gets some really good starts, and he's starting, look, almost going down the inside of Oliver Hall there into the hairpin. So Rex clearly got some good pace in the wet.
Yep. When I started on fifth on the grid at Clay Pigeon, he caught me up straight away at the first corner. Rex got me.
Rex Austin, as Zach said, very, very quick indeed, and he's picked up some solid results so far this season, has Rex Austin. He was on the podium 3 times back at round 2 in Lead, a third in 2 of the races and a second. Since then, his best result was only 7th position, back at Clay Pigeon, so he'll be looking to improve on that. And well, if he can keep it on 2 wheels, second place or even better looks as though it could be on the cards. We're halfway through this first race of the day. It's Oliver Hall leading from Rex Austin, Bradley Curtis in 3rd position, and Matthew Thomas in 4th. And well, Ross, Oliver, he's just had to better his the best lap there, because Rex Austin was very much catching him and putting him under pressure.
Yeah, indeed, these two trading fastest laps. It's now Ollie Hall with the upper hand, the 1:13.287. That was a 4/10 faster than Rex Austin's lap last time around. But I'm sure this lap we've seen Rex Austin responding in the only way he can and taking the fastest lap. These two have been just trading blows throughout this race, and as they just head round now, and it is Ollie Hall though that currently holds the advantage. As Zach was saying though, Rex is a very, very quick rider, and I'm sure he's not going to take no for an answer. He's going to be chasing, just hounding Ollie Hall all the way to the end of the race, and it's either he's going to get past him or he's going to try his best to nonetheless. And as we see, there are a few of the riders at the back, and there is a few riders down the back who are unfortunately just struggling a bit in the wet, but it is very, very tricky conditions out of there. and they're just struggling a bit, it would appear. But they're all after those first few lap shenanigans, all seemingly staying on the bikes. So maybe just the first time out, just getting used to the conditions. Now they're used to it. Everyone is ready to go, raring to go, and they're all got the confidence down. As I say that, that's Taylor down.
Yeah, Taylor Riley that's gone down from 9th position. So, once again, that's Ardale's hairpin catching out multiple people and, back underway. So it's great to see everyone back on the bike and back in the race. We've now got 4 laps left to go. It is Oliver Hall leading away. Matthew Thomas. So Rex Austin has had an issue. Rex Austin falling down the order. So we're having a quick glance out, see if we can see anything on circuit. But Rex Austin now dropping right down, 4th, 5th, 6th position. Has Rex pulled off to the side with a problem on the bikes? That's promoted Matthew Thomas now up into 2nd position, and Bradley Curtis into 3rd. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Beth Ashby, but that means that Oliver Hall now leading this one by a clear 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, very lucky there for Ollie Hall. Big shame as well for Rex Austin. Not too sure what's happened to him. Maybe just having some issues with the bike, because we can't see that if anyone's fallen off. So assume that he's had some issues with the bike. But yeah, very lucky for Ollie Hall there. He's now could just cruise home, frankly. 4 laps to go till the end of this race. Soon to be 3 laps as he just brings it into the final corner. And as you said, he's got a big gap now, 4.5 seconds to Matthew Thomas behind him. Bradley Curtis again, another 10 seconds back. So it's a very, very big gap now behind Ollie Hall. All he needs to do is keep it on the road, keep himself on the bike, and he's should be able to cruise home. Obviously, though, anything can happen here at FAB, and it is very tricky conditions out there. But he's a rider who's very confident in himself in the bike, and we've seen throughout yesterday that he is very, very quick round here. So I'm sure he's going to have no issue whatsoever bringing this one home. You can just see there going into Ardale's hairpin the amount of standing water on the track, just puddles forming everywhere. Very, very horrid conditions out there. And Ardale's, as this is we see there, I believe that is the second place of the 128 of Matthew Thomas, who's as I said, still 4.5 seconds back on Ollie Hall. You can just see the amount of standing water into the Ardale's hairpin. You can understand why that's where everyone's been coming off so far today. It's just the amount of water into that hairpin. Obviously it's the entrance is slightly on a downhill and the exit is slightly on an uphill, so it kind of collects into the entrance to the exit of the corner, so it's really not ideal when it rains. So you can see why they're all struggling there.
Yeah, and Zach, when you're racing in a position like you are, like Oliver is and like Matthew is at the moment, how hard is it to keep your concentration and make sure that you're not making any mistakes? When you're on your own, you want to make sure that you're not falling off, you're not making any silly mistakes that's costing you time. So when you're as you said, you like being on your own, but do you find that you lose concentration, or you maybe go deep into a corner, or you miss your braking point?
No, if I'm not by myself, I just go, to be honest, I go quicker.
Well, there you go. It was clear that we need to put you out there. We'll just strap that. He's got a bionic arm attached to him now with his cast, with his collarbone, and we'll get him back out on a bike. We know that you desperately want to be back out there. And Oliver Hall leading away. That gap now is down to 4 seconds. So Matthew Thomas has taken some time out of Oliver on that last lap, but Oliver just doing what he needs to at the moment and just leading away at the front. As you can see, just making his way through some of the puddles, but it's not really harmed the 3 whatsoever. And the young man that's got an immense talent and a lot of help behind the scenes that is really helping him. He's got such a smooth riding style, and it's always fascinating to watch his growth throughout this. He's had a couple of off races, has Oliver Hall, back at Red Lodge. Maybe wasn't what he was hoping for. He's always looking for wins, and then back at Lid had an issue with the bike, but he's back on the pace now. He's taken the last 2 wins in class, and he takes the last lap flag. And Oliver, he's been looking pretty good this weekend, hasn't he, Zach?
Yeah, Oliver's a nice lad. He is funny too.
Yeah, he is. Oliver Hall is very, very funny. He is always a great laugh to have a chat with. Had a chat with him in the paddock on Saturday morning, and he's got a few more corners left to go, and in fact he's coming up to some lap traffic now, so he's just going to make his way past that. And Ross, it's been a cruise to the flag for the 3 machines. Oh, we've got a rider down there once again.
Jensen?
Yeah, we'll have to double check that as Zach's taking a peek out the window to try and see if he can work out. So it's Jensen Bishop down. Jensen, who was running just inside the top 10, but it is still Oliver Hall running away with this one. The gap is coming down somewhat. It was 3.8 seconds, however. I'm sure Oliver has just been taking it easy, knowing that he's got that gap. He can just cruise to the finish now. He's just coming up to a little bit of lap traffic, so he doesn't want to be offline too much. However, the circuit being the condition it is, there won't really be an optimal line. You can find any line you want because it's all going to be wet. So here we go into the final corner for the final time of race 2. One more to come. However, the first two have gone the way of Oliver Hall on the 3 machine. He is your winner in the AC40 Rookies. What a win there from Oliver once again.
I like his little celebration. But Matthew Thomas is gone.
There goes Matthew Thomas, takes home 2nd position, and Rex Austin, after having that issue, has made his way back up into 3rd. So as you say, Rex, an absolute rocket on the bike, and the 991, does he manage to come home and pick up a podium finish? He does. So Rex, even with dropping down to 6th or 7th position, now finds himself back up in 3rd. Chloe Gleeson, 4th position there for Chloe, and that is her best result of the season, beating 5th place back at Lid in round 2. So fantastic result there for Chloe, just missing out on a podium by 2.6 seconds. And another great race there from the rookies, Ross.
Yeah, it was indeed, of course. Very nice ride from Ollie Hall. Obviously got a bit lucky there with Rex Austin having those issues. Had a lot of pressure taken off him, but he's done very, very well there indeed. And of course, don't forget to give the winner a wave as well as he rides past. Zach's giving him a wave. I don't think he'll be able to see us up here in our commentary box, but I'm sure he's appreciating the wave anyway, Zach. But what a ride we've seen from Ollie Hall, and and again Ollie Hall taking the win here in race 2 of the AC40 Rookies. Matthew Thomas coming in 2nd, with Rex Austin coming back to take 3rd. Chloe Gleeson with her best ever finish here at FAB, taking 4th, right at the death from Beth Ashby in 5th place. And it's Bradley Curtis in 6th, Harley Baker in 7th, Annabelle McCarthy coming home in 8th, Taylor Riley in 9th, and Seth Mason Hayward coming home in 10th place. Then it's Richards, Bishop, Hooper, Jennings and Perkins rounding out the order here. And obviously the rookies will be back for race 3 in the afternoon, so don't get all upset. You'll still be seeing some more AC40 Rookies action. But that was a very good way to start off the day's racing here, Gareth.
Absolutely. And once again, a very big thank you goes out to Zach Speed Pendergast, once again a fantastic commentator. So clearly, if you're ever a little bit bored, you want to come do some commentary, you're more than welcome to come and join us anytime. I'm sure you might even wander up for race 3 if you'd like to. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Zach.
I love that adults just running. They get a little excited. Especially my dad.
Oh, no filter, and that's what we love about Zach. He is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, what a star in the making is Speed Pendergast. Next up, we go to the MKGP 50s, and the 50s, another championship that is we thought it was all going one way. We thought it was all going the way of Clayton Edmonds. However, Marco Holt has really switched the afterburners on in the previous few rounds or so, and he's taken the previous 3 wins. Clayton, he's had to settle for 2nd in those races, so unfortunately for Clayton, he's found himself coming up short and losing that lead losing ground to Marco, who's starting to eke the points back. And you're looking at the previous results there, Ross. You can see that Marco Holt's had a solid result all season long, yet to finish off of the podium. So it's Marco Holt clearly one to watch in this one.
Yeah, indeed. Of course, last 3 wins on the trot, as you said, and then it hasn't finished off the podium the entire season. It did take him until race 2 at Red Lodge to take his first win, though. But now that he's really motoring along, he's really got the pace behind him, and obviously winning race 1 as well. And he'll be going off of pole position as well, so he's got it all looking in his favour. Marco Holt, the number 58, going from pole. Clayton Edmonds lining up alongside him, and it's Archie Gibbs in 3rd place, with Harry Payne, who had a big tumble earlier on in practice, in 4th. Then it's Bill Harris in 5th, and Azir Devine finishing off the 3rd row in 6th. Then Byron Johnson and Luke Fitchett making up the 4th row, and then the 5th row it's Noah Guillery and Austin Johnson in 10th place. So it's going to be a very interesting race, Holt versus Edmonds. Who's going to come out on top here in the MKGP 50 race 2 at Rowrah?
Yep. So if you are joining us for the first time this morning, thank you very much. My name is Gareth One, joined by Ross and McIntyre throughout the rest of this 5th round of the season, the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships here in the Lake District at the Cumbria Kart Circuit. It is lovely indeed. As Marco Holt just giving away to the camera there. You haven't even won yet, Marco. You've got some work to do first. But the 58, where he's obviously in confident mindset there. I was just chatting to him yesterday, and he was saying, yeah, I've just got to catch Clayton. Quite happy with how my season's going. I've just got to keep taking points off him. And if he can keep it up, we know that he's got the chance of doing it. We know that equally Clayton is very, very good in the wet. And however, I was speaking to Clayton's mum earlier, and she said, well, Marco beat him back at Clay Pigeon in the wet, so they are quite evenly matched. So we will find out as Harry Payne rolls into third position. It's great to see Harry back on the bike, as you say, having a bit of a tumble in the warm-up session, but well, you can't keep a good rider down, and the 11 machine is back on, and it's filtering into fourth place. There's Archie Gibbs on the 3. Of course, he's in his debut season on the GP bikes. He's moved up earlier on back at Red Lodge, so this is only his third round on a GP bike. But what can we do? First position versus second is Clayton versus Marco. Lights on, lights off, and there we go. It's a great start from the 146. So Clayton Edmonds, Marco Holt into second, Archie Gibbs, and there was that Azad Ryan into a brilliant fourth place. I think that was a good start there from the it was a good start up there from Isaiah in the 90. So he's filled in behind Archie Gibbs, but Clayton from Marco, and that's going to be the battle we're expecting to see from this one. What can Archie Gibbs do? He's a bit of an unknown quantity in this race, as you can see everyone just tentatively making their way through the hairpin section for the first time. That's the number 7, Luke Fitchett, that is back on the bike after missing Clay Pigeon with an injured wrist, as it looks as though Austin Johnson a little bit slow out of the hairpin there, but Marco Holt now back up ahead of Clayton Edmonds, so he's made that move down the back end of the circuit just off camera. So Marco back up ahead of Clayton after losing the lead off the line.
Indeed, obviously Marco will want to streak off into the distance. Obviously me and you will want Clayton to stick with him, have a great battle here, but these two, they're clearly the quickest out there at the moment. We can see there are a few riders running wide, still trying to get to grips with the wet track, but it is Marco Holt that leads the race after a great jump away from the line by Clayton Edmonds, and they come round now into the final corner to complete. That's not the final corner, apologies, that's the first turn. They already completed the first lap, but it is Marco Holt that leads this race. Clayton Edmonds very, very close behind though. Holt was 6/10 faster on the first lap, so we'll have to see who's going to have the advantage this time. Already Edmonds looking all over the back of the tail of Marco Holt's bike. He is looking for a way past, late on the brakes, trying to get a bit of a switchback move, maybe no. He's got a lot of momentum with him. You can very clearly see those are orange wheels chasing him down. If Marco Holt decides to glance backwards, he will see that 146 machine all over his rear end. And right now he's just got to absorb all that pressure from Clayton Edmonds, his main championship rival. Of course, Clayton Edmonds is still leading the championship, but Holt, obviously, as we said, is on an absolute roll at the moment. 3 wins on the bounce now, and I'm sure he will want to make that 4 here. Race 2 at Rowrah, of course. He's now leading into the back section out of that downhill right-left. A lot of standing water there as well. That was Edmonds having a little look to the inside into the final corner. Decided against it. Holt did also close the door at the last minute, so he's having to think defensively. They are very, very close heading through the first section. Very smart from Edmonds there, backing off into the first corner to get the momentum with him. I don't think it's going to benefit him. Having a look to the inside though, but he decides against it. It's all Edmonds at the moment. Holt can only sit there and do what he can and try and keep that 146 behind him.
Yeah, but watch out for Archie Gibbs in third position. Archie's just done the fastest lap of the race, 6/10 of a second faster than anyone else on circuit, and he's now got himself well involved in this battle for the lead. They've broken away, as that's the 41 of Noah Guillory that's gone down, managing to get back up and underway as Noah rider down. Is that Divine that's gone down? It is the 90, so that's Isaiah Divine, who's running in fourth position. His best result, it would have been matching his best result of the season. He wants to get back up underway. Well, he's got the pace, so just keep a cool head, as I'm sure you're about to get back into this one. And then you can see back on the bike and back underway, and already chasing down Bill Harris, and him and Bill Harris, and have had a pretty titanic battle throughout the last few rounds. So we'll see what the 90 can do up against the 14, as he's already closing into the wheel tracks of the 14. Of course, Bill Harris, the younger brother to Ronnie Harris, who we'll see in the 70s later on. But here we go. Here comes Clayton Edmonds down the inside of Marco Holt. Does he get the move done? Takes the inside line, and he's going to make Marco have to go for the switchback. But Marco does get the switchback. They're going to go side by side down towards Ardale's hairpin, but inside line for Clayton Edmonds, and he should, but he doesn't hold on to the lead. That one, Marco, lovely move there from Marco, very calm, very collected. And Clayton Edmonds, he's going to have to find another way around, as he puts a foot down there just to get a little bit of balance into the braking zone. And he's back underway. They've broken away a little bit from Archie Gibbs. Archie, who was starting to close in on them, has now dropped back to around about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds behind, because it looks as though Marco's just switched it on this last lap. He's trying to keep he's trying to keep Clayton Edmonds behind. These two are probably the two best ones on the grid in the wet conditions, and it is showing. We've got a yellow at the final corner, so no overtakes there, but Clayton Edmonds is going to roll out the final corner, get up alongside, and takes the move into T1. Lovely move there. They're just going to catch up to the back of Austin Johnson as he goes over the curbs, and Marco Holt follows in behind and down towards McRae's hairpin. And it's the 146 leading from the 58.
It is indeed. Lovely move there by Clayton Edmonds. Super smart. That traffic getting in the way. That is the 14 of Bill Harris going off there with problems, I believe. He's still on the bike, so obviously having Marshall running over, trying to get it going again. Not too sure what's going there. And I've just heard in my ear that apparently there was a bit of contact with him and another rider. Hopefully they're all okay, and he gets going once again. So not sure what happened there, but it is now Clayton Edmonds that leads this race, and he did set the fastest lap of the race the last time round as well. The only rider into the 1 minute 1 seconds, 101.713. Holt though all over the back of them once again, coming into the final corner, having a look down the inside, decides against it, trying to get that momentum with him. That last corner, there's lots of lines you can take into and out of the corner to try and benefit you, and once again into the first section we go. It was very brave by Clayton Edmonds over that curb at turn 3. Got to be and into the standing water as well there. You can see big puddle on the exit of that corner, but it was very brave onto the curbs. You know, you really don't want to touch the curbs here in the wet. It's really not what you should do. Clayton Edmonds decided to take all logic and throw it out the window, but it's clearly worked for him. He's currently leading this race with 6 laps to go. Marco Holt though isn't taking no for an answer. He's still with him, still fighting to the death, I'm sure, and as he just still looking for the opportunities. It seems to be that all the momentum is in the hands of the attack here as Marco Holt gets a really good run out of this corner there, and as they head into the downhill section, he's going to have a look to the inside. That would be very brave if he made that move. He decides against it at the last minute, but he is all over the back of Clayton Edmonds now, and they're drawing alongside out of the corner. Holt really has the pace at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Marco Holt's going to try and come down the inside of Devine, it just doesn't quite work there. There wasn't enough space, and that's going to cost you some time as Marco Holt loses around half a second. Yes, 7/10 of a second that gap comes up to. It looks as though Isaiah just wasn't expecting to see 2 bikes go down the inside of him into the final corner. Of course, no blue flags here at FAB, so it is very much the riders in front to make their moves carefully, and equally the riders behind to look around them and make sure that they're not getting in someone else's way as well. So Clayton leading from Marco, but this battle's still going, and they've managed to drop Archie Gibbs now to 8 seconds. Archie Gibbs, who is right in that battle, now down 8.9 seconds behind. Harry Payne in 4th position, and if that's the case for Harry in 4th place there, he's on a brilliant run of form here in the 50s. 4th position would be his worst finish since race 2 of round 1. He's been 4th, 3rd, and a couple more 4ths, and Harry solidly finishing inside the top 10 here in the 50s, which is great to see. The rider that has got a lovely sponsorship package from Glenn Irwin. He said that when he went to a motorcycle show when he was younger, he sat on a bike and he was like, that's what I want to do when I grow up, and he's got himself a lovely bit of help to make his way through the 50s, and it is great to see because Harry is such a nice guy, and equally so is everyone at FAB. We're always enjoying having a chat and a conversation with these guys in the paddock. And one of those is Clayton Edmonds, who is always a very cool customer when you're chatting to him. Always Marco Holt, as you say, gets onto the very slippery painted curbing on the exit. Just the bike getting a little bit of a wobble. He's dropped down now to around about a second behind, so Clayton can just take it easy for a lap or so and make sure he doesn't make any undue mistakes. He's got 4 laps. There's about to become 3 laps left to go in the 146, leading from the 58. Archie Gibbs back in 3rd. Harry Payne and Luke Fitchett are your top 5, but Byron Johnson having his best run on a 50. He's in 6th position. Noah Guillory running in 7th position. The rider from Swindon having a good run as well, with Isaiah Devine, Bill Harris and Austin Johnson down in 10th position. Marco Holt, however, last time around, fastest lap of the race, the 10th faster than Clayton Edmonds.
Indeed, a 1 minute 0.502. He's got the pace clearly, but what Marco needs to do is just not override the bike. He's been, there's been times over the weekend and over the season where he has been doing that, and that's what he needs to not do in this situation. Again, getting over the curb and things like that. He's got great bike control. He's able to save, slides and, moments when I think that he's just going to go down and that's it, it's over. He's able to save that, and I'm just thinking, how is this kid here? But he needs to not do that in the first place in order to be quick. But as I say that, you see Clayton Edmonds being held up there by traffic. that he's trying to lap. Obviously, as you said, no blue flags, and that has once again allowed Holt to close right up to the backside of him. So Holt got held up by traffic. Now it's Edmonds' turn, and that's Holt having a look to the inside. Not quite able to make it stick, but he's still there as they head into the final corner. We're about to have 2 laps left to go, so it is almost last chance saloon here for Marco Holt. What can he do as they come to the line now, and as they come into the first turn, and it is Edmonds that still leads this race. Marco Holt in P2. It's Gibbs, Archie Gibbs, who's dropped back in P3. Harry Payne in P4. Luke Fitch at P5. Byron Johnson in P6. Noah Grillery, that is someone down there, I think, in the background potentially. And then it's Isaiah Devine P8, Bill Harris P9, and Austin Johnson P10. That was Holt. That was Holt that was down there. So Holt's gone down. So Holt's gone down there.
Yeah, Holt in the background. We just saw him come back into shot. I didn't want to jump over the top of you there, but it's Marco Holt in second position that has gone down at T2, just getting caught out on the uphill section of the first complex of corners. And, well, he's held on to second position, but that does mean that with about a lap and a half left to go, that Clayton Edmonds is now running free in the lead of this one. He just needs to keep it on 2 wheels, and he'll take a quick glance behind. And I was talking to Jamie King about this, is that here at Rowrah, it's quite easy to find out where other people are on circuit, because it's you've got long straights and then hairpins and long straights and then hairpins, so you can find out how much of a gap you've got. And well, it allows you to see as Archie Gibbs getting past some lap traffic there. Harry Payne still in 4th with Luke Fitchett in 5th. Then we've got Byron Johnson 6th. Noah Guillory having a great run in 7th position. Bill Harris, Isaiah Devine and Austin Johnson are in the 10 here, but it is Clayton Edmonds on the 146 that's coming around for the final time into Ardell's hairpin. He's had to work for this one. Marco Holt put him under pressure, but unfortunately for Marco, going down into the dirt on the exit of T2. And, well, Clayton, he's got about 6 more corners to navigate around to pick up a victory here at Rowrah. He was second yesterday to Marco. This time around, it looks as though he's going to get the better of Marco. Marco, I'm sure, will be bemoaning just the slightest of the mistakes that has cost him a possible race of victory. However, Clayton Edmonds with 3 corners left to go, and the 146 has been once again marvellous in the rain. And he always enjoys this. I've been told before he's got webbed feet. Well, they've worked today, because here comes Clayton Edmonds cruising to the checkered in the MKGP 50s.
What a performance there from Clayton Edmonds. As you said, did have to work for a bit of luck there at the end with Marco Holt going down. Obviously a big shame for Holt. He will come home in second place in a short time. You can see there Edmonds clearly delighted with that win. He knows how much that means in this championship fight, taking away that momentum from Holt, getting back onto the top step of the podium. First time he's done that in 3 races. The last 3 that Holt won, Edmonds all finished in second. So that's very important for both his momentum and keeping his championship fight alive. He needed to get back on track, and that's what he's done here in race 2 at Rowrah. Actually getting off the bike, almost getting off the bike from him, and congratulating Marco Holt. Probably saying, unlucky there, mate. Obviously they were enjoying the racing. Everybody does here. It's a very tight-knit community here at FAB, but you never want to see your rival go down like that. Even if it does grant you an easy victory, you always want to be racing to the flag, because that's what makes it fun. It is Clayton Edmonds that wins in race 2 of the MKGP 50s. Look, mum, no hands, he says, as he rides with a little bit of a celebration. Marco Holt coming home in P2 after a bit of a tumble at turn 2. It's Archie Gibbs, who faded back in the later stages of the race, in P3, and Harry Payne, who's done a very impressive job. Another force plate after a huge tumble this morning as well, so kudos to him. Luke Fitchett coming home in P5, then Byron Johnson in P6, then Guillory P7, Harris P8, Isaiah Devine in P9, and Austin Johnson rounding out the field in P10. So a really good race we've seen here in the MKGP 50s, and once again they will be back for more action in the afternoon with race 3. So don't think it's all done yet for the 50s riders. They will be back out there in hopefully much nicer conditions. But yeah, great performance there from Clayton Edmonds. Again, great performance from Marco Holt, just unlucky with him going down at turn 2, but that's what happens sometimes. You can't really gauge what the bike's going to do a lot of the time in these conditions, and turn 2 is a very difficult corner as it is. It's over a blind crest, there's an immediate right-hander after it, so you have to be prepared for that. It is very, very tricky, but a great performance there from Clayton Edmonds to take that win in race 2, and as I said, getting his championship back on track as well, and that's something that he needed to get his momentum going again.
Take a breath. That was a bit of a breathless race there. Yeah, well done, Ross. Of course, Ross in his debut weekend of commentary, so it's great to hear. You've been doing a stellar job so far. It's very difficult to come into a championship for the first time, not know who anyone is, what any of the categories. He's come from sim racing on 4 wheels, let alone 2, and he's done a superb job. So give him some love in the comments, everyone. He's been great to have alongside me. As I'm sure Tristan will be sitting there, of course. And if you want to listen to Tristan Finocchiaro, he is now your lead commentator for the British Talent Cup. So Tristan over on Eurosport, and you can catch up with all the racing they're doing here at Donington. But he does listen in. He's usually in the comments, and he's usually telling me to stop talking. So I will pass over to Ross for the grid for this one. He'll be giving you the grid for the Senior Mini Motos.
Indeed, obviously Senior Mini Motos race 2 now as they head out onto their green flag lap. And of course, these guys are the big guys out on their bike. It will be Matt Birkin starting from the pole position. Bernie Hook lining up alongside him after he didn't take the win yesterday because they null and voided the race, but he was leading when the red flag came out. So they may be having race 1 perversely after race 3 later on this afternoon. Josh Birkin lining up in 3rd place with Simon Huntingford P4. And it's Nick Bennett and Ashley Thompson taking out the 3rd row. Then Mark Payne and Keaton Payne lining up alongside each other on row 4. Then Ross Michael and Callum White rounding out the grid for race 2 of the Senior Mini Motos.
Bernie Hook coming into this one leading the championship by 39 points. That was it's shortened up a little bit. We will find out actually, because obviously yesterday's race was not classified, so they've been offered to have a race at the end of the day. We will find out if they take it or not. I imagine with everyone wanting to shoot off home from the Lake District, it took me 9 hours to get here from Oxford, and it took Jamie King said it took him 7.5 from almost Ella Park, so that's not fair at all. So it's a long way home. We'll see if the seniors take them up or not. They do. Bernie Hook was one of those. He said, we come here, we have a lot of fun, we get on with each other, and we go out and we have some fun racing together. And him and the likes of the 2 Birkins and Josh, who will equally see out on the Moto team later on in the day. Well, what do they do as they all line up on the grid here for their second race of the weekend? First one went to red after some fluid knockdown. This time around, it's Bernie Hook versus the Birkins. Who gets a run off the line? It looks as though Hook's going to get a run into T1. Oh, you can see almost getting sat up there is Josh Birkin. And Josh Birkin and Matt Birkin with very similar levers, so it's going to be very tricky to tell them apart in this one. Usually we can tell the 5 from the 4 by the different levers they're wearing, but it looks as though Matt is leading from Josh, and they're all filtering into position as they streak down now towards Ardale's hairpin. And you can see different riding styles from all these seniors. Big people on little bikes is what we always enjoy seeing here at the seniors. Oh, there we go. One of the Birkins down already. And that's the 5. So that's Matt Birkin that's gone down. So Matt, who's taken the race win back in Clay Pigeon, took race 2 win. Unfortunately, he's going to have to make up some time because he's now down behind a few of the riders down the order. And, you can see it's not just the rookies that were getting caught out by that corner.
No, it's the experienced guys as well. The rain is very, very tricky out there. I was speaking to one of the 70s riders the other day on the Friday when I was going around doing the interviews, and he said something very interesting about how the karts around here put down a lot of rubber through the hairpins. We can see there they're working their way up the pack is Matt Birkin. Actually, no, he's actually taken the lead, I think. So that's Josh Birkin, apologies, he's taken the lead, and Nick Bennett in second. So Bernie Hook's obviously run into a bit of problems down the back end of the circuit, but the karts around here put down a lot of rubber here at the Cumbria Kart Club, and that's really tricky, especially coming into the hairpins. And obviously when it rains, the rubber that's put down just turns into an absolute ice rink, so it is very, very tricky out there. But it is Josh Birkin that leads this race. He took race 1 and race 3 last time out at Clay Pigeon. So the Birkin boys clearly enjoying their time over at Clay Pigeon. They'll be looking to continue that. Bernie Hook, though, with a great start. Once again, taking lead off the line, obviously, from the nullified race yesterday. He did the exact same, but obviously just having a bit of trouble out there today. It is Josh Birkin that leads this race from Nick Bennett. The rain obviously preferring that number 4 bike who's out the front. Bennett is giving him a hard time, and that, I believe, might be Bernie Hook down again.
I'm just double checking, but we'll find out. But it's still Josh Birkin leading Nick Bennett. Nick Bennett is now making the challenge for the lead. Not quite. Josh says no as he shuts the door at turn 1. Nick Bennett, however, on the charge and doing a fantastic race at the moment. And these guys, as we say, they enjoy being in the paddock. They enjoy having a laugh with each other when they get out there. It's knees out, it's elbows out. No one wants to get beaten. And at the moment, it's Josh leading from the 7-11 of Nick Bennett. Bernie Hook still in second position, so I believe that might be Callum White that's gone down. He's fallen down the order. And, here comes Nick Bennett. Can he get down the inside of the 4 of Josh Birkin? Josh, who took 2 wins back at Clay Pigeon. And he wants to pick up another one. He hadn't won up until then. He's got a lot of work to do because they've broken away from Bernie Hook now. So Bernie dropping down into a somewhat distant third. He's 1.5 seconds behind. And here we come in towards the final stages of this lap to come. 6 laps left to go at the end of this one. And it's Josh Birkin from Nick Bennett, Bernie Hook, Simon Huntington once again running up nicely inside the top 5, and the rider from Stowmarket as Josh Birkin comes across the line. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:01.838, is a little bit faster than what Nick Bennett did last time around, which means that gap is now half a second. So Josh is just willing to let Nick close in a little bit, and then he's got that pace just to sit underneath. You can see, just takes a quick glance behind him there. You can see he's gapped him somewhat, as unfortunately Nick's overalls there and his leathers and coat is keeping him waterproof, well, almost like a sail catching the wind going down the back straight. That's not going to help you streamline, but down into the hairpin they go, and out of the hairpin they go. And it is there's Matt Birkin. He's trying to recover from a crash that he's just had once again. So Matt going down twice in this race, and he's going to have to try and recover back past Mark Payne. So one of the Paynes that are currently running in 4th and 6th position, and Matt, he's got some work to do. He's not had the race he wants, and as usual is with Senior Mini Moto. There's a rider down, big slide.
That's Nick Bennett.
No, it's not. I'm sorry, I lied. I told you it's very tricky. They wear the same leathers, but no, I believe that was the rider that Matt Birkin was fighting with. So was that either Mark Payne or Keterman? We will find out. It was one of the Paynes, but into the final corner. In fact, last time around, Nick Bennett did manage to grab the lead off of Josh Birkin off screen. So we've seen a change for the lead, and so we were told that one of the Birkins had gone down. It must have been leader Josh, because he dropped 3.3 seconds down.
Yeah, indeed, that was really not a good lap. 1:06.203, so he must have had a tumble somewhere or made a big mistake and run very, very wide. It is Nick Bennett that now leads this race, and again, as you said, very difficult to tell the difference between the two Birkin boys, but I'm trying my best. But Nick Bennett now leading the race, and again, I think a Birkin may have just gone off again, potentially.
Yeah, there was another one. Yep, it happens. It happens. We get used to it. It's a ride or die style for the Birkin brothers, and unfortunately, as we saw back at Rowrah here last year, when the rain comes down, they seem to spend the majority of the race on the backside, but back on the bike and back underway for both of them, holding on to 2nd position and 4th position, so they've still got the pace to be well in this one. But Josh Birkin has now actually retaken Nick Bennett on that last lap, so he's managed to recover 3 seconds, so surely an issue for the 7-11 of Nick Bennett. Josh is now back up into lead by 2.4 seconds, so they're trading positions, not by overtakes really, but by who can stay on 2 wheels.
Yeah, it seems that way. Again, very, very tough out there for the riders, and it's not just the young guys out there. These Senior Mini Moto riders, they're struggling as well. And Josh Birkin and Nick Bennett again trading places. So at this point, it is seemingly a case of who's able to stay on the road, stay on the bike, and they're going to be the one who comes out on top as we are following around Josh Birkin there. Nick Bennett is a few seconds behind him. He was massively off the pace that last lap at 1:08.291, so that was actually slower than the lap when Josh came off of the lap previously. So he's 2 and a bit seconds back off now. So he's got a bit of work to do once again. But as you said, bit of a ride or die style for Josh Birkin. So I would not be surprised if he ends up on the floor again. But such are the conditions out here, it could be anybody going over at this rate. Even those who are the most experienced mini moto riders on the planet would find it tricky out there. Rowrah is not a kind circuit as it is, and then when it rains, it gets even worse. But that is why the riders love it. It is a very high risk, high reward track. A lot of fun to ride on, and it provides some great racing as well.
Yeah, I always enjoy having a chat with the guys in the Senior Mini Motors. We've got a yellow flag down out the hairpin. Is that for a rider? Is that one of the... is a rider down at the side. So another issue there at Ardale's hairpin. And, well, it is just catching out rider after rider after rider. And I'm kind of smirking to myself as I look down at the last boards and in front of me, and it tells you the usual lap time here in the wet conditions is around about 1:02, 1:03, and then you see a 1:12 or a 1:15. You think, they've gone down, haven't they? You don't lose 10 or 12 seconds that easily. But earlier, we found out that we've lost Darren Anderson and Simon Huntington. So Simon Huntington that's gone down, and he's dropped way down the auto as well. So a real shame there for Simon, who had a solid result yesterday in the race, and there's the 4 of Josh Birkin leading this one from the 7-11 of Nick Bennett. Bernie Hook still holding on to 3rd position. Then Matt Birkin's recovered back to 4th. Then you've got the pain pairing of Mark and Keaton. in 5th and 6th position. Ashley Thompson down in 7th, with Callum White in 8th. And then Simon Huntingford looks as though he might be out of this one. Got a DNF logo next to his name, so he has losing laps every lap, so that usually indicates that Simon has called this one. As you can see there, one of the Birkins, I believe that's Josh, just has a quick glance to the side of him as he comes past, trying to work, am I overtaking you, or am I lapping you? I don't quite know what's happening now.
At this point, everybody is so spread out around this circuit. I frankly have no idea what's going on. Literally, because of the accidents and people going down, everyone is so spread out. Now we can see one of the riders trying to make their way through turn 1. It is very tricky out there. So frankly, at this point, I'm just as lost as he is. Just trying to look out my window and see, but everybody is just absolutely everywhere around the circuit. There's there's a solid equal distance gap between everyone. It's a bit strange, to be honest, but it is still Josh Birkin that leads this race, with Nick Bennett behind in P2. We've got a yellow flag, so we might have a rider down, and we do. I'm not sure who that is.
I think that's Nick Bennett. I think that's the 711 on the red bike that's gone down. So the rider that was in 2nd position going down out of 2nd, but he had a bit of a gap between himself and Bernie Hook. But it is still the 4 for Josh Birkin, who's rounding on the last lap here. It's been, once again, chaos from start to finish, and it's what we love here in the Senior Mini Motos. But Josh Birkin is on the Senior, and he's leading the race. He took 2 wins back at Clay Pigeon. He's looking at taking 1 here at Rowrah. Well, it's always fun in the Seniors, and Josh Birkin makes it look even better when he's on it, because here we come to the checkered. Goes Josh Birkin. He takes the checkered flag and the race to win here at Rowrah. And he'll be out on a Moto team bike later on today, so he's going to swap the Mini for the geared bike and jump onto a Moto team bike. He has a quick glance behind. Where is everyone? I was fighting with you all at the start of this one, and they've all disappeared. But there we go. Nick Bennett comes home in the 2nd position. He picks up a best result so Clay Pigeon, he picked up a 2nd and a 3rd, and before that he'd not even touched the top 5. So Nick luckily getting back on the pace. We saw him have some good races last season, but 3rd position, that goes the way of Bernie Hook, and Matt Birkin recovers to 4th after spending, I'd say, about 67% of that race down in the wood chips on the side of the circuit. So Matt, I'm sure a little bit scuffed up there, might have to polish off those leathers. I think that's probably why he's wearing his older leathers, so that they're not as scruffed up as his new ones that's got his name on the back of them. But Mark Payne in 5th, Keaton Payne in 6th, with Ashley Thompson in 7th, Callum White in 8th, and unfortunately we lost Simon Huntingford from that one earlier on in the race.
Indeed we did. Big shame there for him, but obviously this was definitely a race of attrition. It was who could keep it on the bike, on the road. Obviously, as you said, in the Seniors, it is always chaos, and the rain at Rowrah definitely allowed that to happen even further. So great performance there though from Josh Birkin to take that win. He did go down himself at one point, but Nick Bennett went down twice, so that was why he was able to cruise to a rather easy victory. As you said, looking behind, and there was nobody there to stop and have a conversation with. So Josh Birkin taking the win, Nick Bennett coming home in P2, and Bernie Hook after fading away after a very good start, finishing on the podium in P3. I think he was actually one of the only riders who didn't go down. We didn't see him go down, so I'll just say we didn't see him go down. That doesn't necessarily mean he didn't go down. But great performance by those 3, and as you said, it's always chaos in the Seniors. It was definitely a race of attrition, and those guys were the ones who were just able to keep it on the road, keep it on the bike, on the 2 wheels, and bring it home to the end.
Yeah, and the rain is coming down, so it is making it wetter and wetter with every lap. So it's like we saw back at Clay Pigeon, where it was every single weather condition you could possibly think of, and it would be torrentially raining, then it would dry up, and it would be torrentially raining, then it would dry up, and for lap you didn't know what was going to happen. Well, the LC40 Elite are now going to find out what the conditions are like for them. Of course, they had a dry race yesterday. It's not the same today. Archie O'Brien, what can he do? The man leading the championship coming into this weekend. He came home with the victory yesterday in race 1, with Byron Johnson in 2nd and Finlay Polehill coming to 3rd in a race that saw multiple retirements and multiple people having issues on the bike. It's a slightly smaller grid this weekend due to the fact that we are a mile away from everyone else, but it is Archie O'Brien on the pole position, Archie Gibbs in 2nd place, Byron Johnson back in 3rd, 4th position looks as though it's empty, should have Austin Johnson, it's Austin Johnson in 3rd, Byron Johnson in 4th. Then we've got Luke Fitchett in 5th and Finlay Finley Polehill in 6th. And we'll see if Byron's just managed to tag on to the back of this field. Can't see him out on circuit at the moment, but it is still Archie O'Brien leading way. There we go. There is Byron just coming into the back of your shot there as he goes down towards the hairpin. So he'll be lining up from 4th position alongside his older brother, Austin. And, well, Archie O'Brien, as I said, he has been the one to beat this so far this season. He's taken home more than a handful of wins, a multiple handful of wins. He took the opening 4 races of the season, and then he went down and led at race 2, and he said, why did you go down? You were leading comfortably. I was trying to break the lap record, that's why I went down. So he managed to come back to 3rd position. Then he went and took 2 out of 3 in Red Lodge. The 3rd one in Red Lodge is because he was trying to break the lap record, went down and ended up on top of the barrier. It was such a big crash. But Clay Pigeon unfortunately had an issue with the bike, had to use his AC instead of his LC, so that cost him some time. He ended up 3rd, 2nd and 2nd. He's back on the LC and he took a win yesterday, so he is the one to beat in this LC40 Elites. But what can Archie Gibbs do from 2nd position? He is looking very racy and was putting the challenge onto Archie O'Brien yesterday in race 1. We know that the Johnson brothers behind have been very, very quick starters, especially Byron. So watch out for the rider in on the 2nd row with the black helmet. He has been making some lightning starts there as Archie O'Brien, your pole sitter, having an issue with the bike. They're having to get it restarted. So you can see the 91 having that problem with the bike. They're just trying to get it restarted from pole. This is not what you want if you're Archie O'Brien. Looks as though they are spinning the rear tyre, so it should be back underway as there we go. Oh no, once again the bike cuts out. So are we having an issue with maybe a little bit of flooding of that engine? We will have to find out if he can make the start, but not ideal. We can see Archie will not be happy whatsoever. This is a very, very determined young man as he walks off the grid there, just trying to find out if he can get back underway. And there we go, pulling off to the side. So is that your pole sitter out of this one? They're definitely going to let the others take the start. So Archie O'Brien, he's going to have to work hard to catch up. No, it looks as though that's him done. So here we go, race start for Archie Gibbs. Watch out for the Johnson brothers, watch out for Luke Fitchett on the 7. Very good start, but it is a decent start. Archie Gibbs, there we go, Austin into 2nd. Down goes Byron Johnson on the exit of turn 2. Tried to go side by side with Finley Polehill and it's not worked out. In fact, Austin Johnson looks as though he's gone down as well, so that's both the Johnsons down at turn 1 and turn 2.
I don't think Austin stopped. I think he actually has a problem. He just pulled over to the side. I was looking out of my window and he just stopped, so I'm not sure what happened with Byron. I think there might have been contact with the Finley Polehill, and then Austin Johnson's just pulled over and stopped. He has been able to get going again though, so not too sure what happened there, but disaster for the Johnson pairing. But it is Archie Gibbs that leads this race with an absolutely lightning start, as you'd expect. Obviously a big shame as well for Archie O'Brien, unable to start the race, but of course I'm sure he'll be back for race 3 if they can solve that issue with the bike. But look at the gap that Gibbs has already. That is a pretty monumental gap to build up on the first lap, and it is Polehill running in 2nd place as well behind the Byron brothers. Have got a bit of work to do if they want to make their way back up through the pack and attack those podium positions. We've only got 5 riders out there now with the departure of O'Brien, so it will still be decent points no matter what way you finish. Oh no, that's a huge tumble again for Austin Johnson. I believe that was outside the window, and as we see there, that's Finley Polehill trying to get round through the first section. It is really getting very, very wet out there, very tough for the riders.
Yeah, very much indeed. They come up to the hairpin, and it is Archie Gibbs leading from Finley Polehill. Finley Polehill in 2nd position, and he's bringing along Luke Fitchett. In fact, it's Luke Fitchett and Finley Polehill. Archie Gibbs not showing up on timing at the moment, so maybe an issue with his transponder, but it is still Archie Gibbs leading from Finley Polehill and Luke Fitchett. Then you've got Byron Johnson trying to close in, but 10 seconds down after that fall at turn 1 and turn 2. Trying to go side by side with Finley Polehill. And, Finley back underway. We know that he's been picking up some solid results recently, and he was very happy indeed with his 3rd place yesterday, and then equally a couple of podium finishes back at Red Lodge and Clay Pigeon. And Finley on the 199, well, he's determined to get some good results here in the LC40 Elites. He's been making his way up through the order. I remember when he was back in the rookies, he came through and unfortunately had a big tumble. Unfortunately broke one of the bones in his body, and he was out for a few weeks, and he was absolutely gutted. When he came back, he was on fire and has been getting better and better and better as the 199, and well, he's now chasing down Archie Gibbs, who should be out there leading away but not showing up on our timing. So it is still Finley Polehill who has got the fastest lap of the race to 1:08.638. So you can see that the lap times are coming down. Of course, it is getting wetter and wetter, so the bikes will be going somewhat slower as they're a little bit more nervous into the braking points as the rain is still coming down across the circuit, and Finley chasing away with Luke Fitchett hoping to come home for a podium. Of course, missing the round last time out at Clay Pigeon with a problem on the bike, with a problem that sent him down and gave him a wrist injury. Came and joined me for commentary and did a sterling job of doing so, and do watch it back because Luke is well, if he doesn't have a career on the bike, he certainly has one behind the mic, because he was fantastic. And well, he said, I'd rather be out there on the bike, and he is, and he's currently holding on to 3rd position.
Yeah, indeed, not too sure. Oh no, and again, that's Archie Gibbs that's gone down there. So he's not appearing on our timing screen. So I was just about to say, I wonder if he's got a transponder issue, but he's gone down. I don't think he's been overtaken by Finley Polehill. No, he hasn't. So we will still maintain the lead of this race. But Archie Gibbs there having a fall again coming out of turn 2. That seems to be a real issue. Turn 2 and turn 5 at Ardales. Those seem to be the 2 main spots where we're having trouble keeping on the bikes. But goes down, manages to maintain the lead again. Not appearing on our timing screen, so I wonder if he's having a transponder issue. It is this man, Archie Gibbs, on the 3 that does lead this race. Finley Polehill and Luke Fitchett in 2nd and 3rd, and then the Johnson brothers making up 4th and 5th. So he's managed to maintain the lead after that. So that shows what a lead he's got. Unfortunately, as I said, we can't tell you how far he in the lead is. We've only got what we can visually see. We've got no timings, but he's quite a way ahead. And to go down and then get back on the bike and still be in the lead shows how far ahead he is at the moment. 6 laps to go, soon to be 5 after he rounds the final corner. Archie Gibbs still leading this race, and he won't want to be doing that again. I'm sure none of these riders will obviously want to coming off the bike, mainly because it hurts, but also because you lose a few positions, and that's obviously not ideal in a championship fight. Obviously, as we get later and later on into the championship, this being round 5 here at Rowrah, you want to be picking up all the points you can to go towards your haul at the end of the season. So going down like that is not ideal. You want to be on the bike, getting the wins, getting the podiums, and bringing home a lot of points across the weekend.
Yeah, you can see kicking up a lot of spray down the back straight there with the greasy surface and a lot of standing water on the apex of the corners. So you kind of have to take that wet line that gets made up by the riders. Each time this is where it's always fascinating to watch riders and drivers equally on 2 wheels and 4 in the rain, because everyone takes a different line. You'll watch the likes of you watch the likes of Finley Polehill, and they'll all be running different lines for each corner. They'll be trying to look and hunt for the grip wherever they can. You can see Finley taking a wider line throughout the back end of the circuit onto the back section that takes you snaking down towards the final few corners. But there's Austin Johnson. He's trying to recover from that bike issue earlier on in the race. He's running in 4th position on circuit, which may be 5th if Archie Gibbs comes back to our timing screens. We'll have to find out. Of course, we do rely on whatever is in front of us on both camera and timing. So if one doesn't come up, we will try and make sure that we give you confirmation post-race. But it is Archie Gibbs that should still be leading this one away from Finley Polehill. Luke Fitchett in a comfortable 3rd position. Byron and Austin Johnson, unfortunately, pole sitter and championship leader Archie O'Brien not able to make the start of the bike. Did the green flag lap, got to the pole position, there we go, pole position grid slot, and it just stopped working. So I'm really unfortunate there for Archie. He will be absolutely gutted with that, but it has allowed Archie Gibbs to possibly come home for his 4th win on the season. He picked up 2 in one at Clay, 1 at Red Lodge, and 1 at Lids, so he's picked up 1 at every round so far. Well, can he pick one up here in the Lake District at Rowrah at the Cumbria Kart Circuit? He's coming around to start. 3 laps left to go on that 3 machine, and Archie Gibbs leading away from Finley Polehill. Finley Polehill on the 199 on the fluorescent orange bike. You can always tell where he is on circuit. It's not very hard to spot him. And Archie Gibbs, you can see, almost crawling through that uphill section into turn 1, 2 and 3 as he makes his way through. He doesn't want a repeat of that mistake that put him on the deck a few laps ago.
Of course he won't. He's he's just want to make sure he brings it home now. At this point, he's got the lead by quite some way to Fitchett behind. So at this point, Archie's probably thinking, I've already had one down. Let's try and stay on the bike and bring this home for a nice and easy win. Of course, we can't quite tell what lap times he's doing, so we don't know what his fastest lap is, what lap time he was last lap. We can't do that comparison because we can't see his transponder. That being said, out of the four that we do have a transponder, it is Austin Johnson all the way down to P5 who's got the fastest lap of the race out of those four with a 107.482. And again, I think that might have been Austin Johnson going down there again as well, just getting going. Not too sure what happened, but he's managed to get going again, but not having a good time out there, the Johnson pairing, it would seem. And as he continues to go round, it's just had the information out here that Archie Gibbs, the number 3, will not be classified at the end of this race. So it's actually Finlay Polehill who is leading this race.
Oh, real shame there for Archie Gibbs, not running a transponder. And unfortunately, if you don't run a transponder, that means you can't be classified. So that does mean we've got Finlay Polehill, Luke Fitchett and Byron Johnson as your 3 in this one. And that would mean that Finlay Polehill will be taking his first win in the LC40 Elites if he can keep it on the 2 wheels. And we can see him putting the knees down. He's got the wet knee sliders on, and he can keep as much balance as possible. And he's out there on his own. It's pretty much a training day there for Finlay. He's got a 7.3 second advantage over Luke Fitchett, who will be in second position. Now Byron Johnson promoted to third, and Byron, who last time around was 2 seconds faster than Luke Fitchett, so he's starting to reel in Luke. But with 2 laps left to go, is it going to be all for nothing? It looks as though the laps might just fall away from Byron Johnson after having that incident on lap 1. Will he just miss out on a second place finish, which would be one of his best results of the season? It would match his best result, which he picked up back at Clay Pigeon, and of course yesterday, where he finished in second place. But almost 1 lap left to go. Archie Gibbs is leading on circuit, but is it all going to be for nothing without a transponder? Finlay Polehill, however, well, he's out there doing his thing, keeping it on 2 wheels, and he's doing a stunning job of it. It's very, very difficult conditions, and it's very easy to sit at home and watch and think, well, it's not that wet, it's not heavy rain, but, well, trust me, it is like an ice rink out there at the moment. These guys are doing a fantastic job keeping it up and keeping it going. And Finlay Polehill, he's on to the final lap. He's just got to go around the rest of this Rowrah Cumbria kart circuit, and, well, he'll be picking up his first win here in the LC40 Elite.
Indeed he will. Obviously a big shame for Archie Gibbs, who was ridden almost flawlessly. Obviously he did have that tumble earlier on, but apart from that, he's been absolutely dominant, and it's a huge shame. He's done amazingly well, and he's going to cross the line, and he's going to think he's won the race. He thinks he's leading. He hasn't been told this information. The same thing for Finlay Polehill. He's going to cross the line and think he's finished in second, and when they get back to the paddock, they're going to have Archie's going to have a very somber conversation with his parents, and Finlay's going to have a very nice conversation with his parents. It will be Archie Gibbs, who has crossed the line already, who will think that he's won the race, but he's not going to win the race, because instead, and we've got Austin Johnson, I think, that's pulling over to stop on the side of the track right at the end, so he can't quite make the checkered flag. But that doesn't matter, because it's the man who thinks he's in second on the road. It's Finlay Polehill who's going to cross the line to win the race. He thinks he's got second. He's still delighted with that one. You can see him nodding his head there, and potentially he knows it. We're not too sure up here in the commentary box, to be honest, but it is Finlay Polehill, second on the road, that wins this race.
Hey, what a result there from Finlay Polehill. Well, we had confirmation, and a transponder issue there for Archie Gibbs means that he will not be classed as the winner for this one. So what it does mean is the 199 is your winner for the first time this season. Congratulations, Finlay Polehill. What a young rider there. Definitely one to watch for the future here. He's been fantastic on the mini motos, and I'm sure when he steps up onto the gear bikes and he likes the 50s and the 70s, well, he's going to have his sights set on some things much bigger. So they will be back out for their race 3s later on. Finlay Polehill, I'm sure, will be going back to the pit lane in the paddock. A very, very happy young man indeed. The 199, your race winner. Now, next up, we move over to pit bike racing. Pit bikes which might fare a little bit better in these conditions. I say that, but they tend to be even more chaotic than what we've seen on the mini motos. However, it is the pit bike 140s. They come for their second race of the weekend, and they'll be thundering out on circuit. Of course, we've still got plenty more races left to come this morning. We've got 5 more races: the pit bike 140s, the AC40 Pros, the MK GP70s, the mini F1 sidecars, and Extreme 200 and Moto team category mixed in together. Then we'll go for our lunch break, and then we'll do it all over again. 10 races from 1:45 onwards. And then we'll hopefully all pack up and get to enjoy a bit of rest and head off back down the M6, I'm sure, for the majority of us, and hope that it doesn't take as long as it did to get up here. However, the pit bikes, well, they'll want to get this race underway, because with the rain coming down and the track conditions being not particularly optimum, well, what can we see from P1 from the likes of Taylor Lawrence in on the pole position? What would he see from the likes of Reece Peacock? Reece Peacock, who's had a very good day yesterday on the 29. He's going to come into second position here, but Taylor very much the one to beat. Championship leader Rossi Banham, of course, the second in championship, not here to take some points off of him. So Taylor, well, he's looking at picking up 75 points, leading this one with 3 wins.
Indeed he is. It is Taylor that starts off of the pole position. Reece Peacock lining up alongside him, then Owen Mellor and Jamie King rounding out the second row. Nathan Riggy and Marco Pandolfo are 5th and 6th respectively. Giorgio Scarlatta and then Matthew Lindley on row 4. Sean Whittaker is in P9 and Idan Katz is P10. Ian Jackson is 11th. Andrew Graham in 12th. Keaton Payne and Roger Monk 13th and 14th, and then Harrison O'Keefe is 15th. Darren Anderson is 16th. Dave Glover is 17th, and it's Gary O'Keefe rounding out the grid there in 18th as they set off on their green flag lap. What can Taylor Lawrence do from the pole? How is Reece Peacock going to get away? We've been seeing that it doesn't really matter where you are on the front row of the grid because it's so wet out there. Racing line doesn't matter if you're on it or not. And again, Owen Mellor and Jay King behind us on. We do have the onboard camera there of Jay King. It's we were a bit unsure whether it was going to be working or not, but the motorsport radio on board of Jay King is a little bit wet, but you could just about see that. So, and there's a rider already down.
Yeah, there is. That's the 29. That's Reece Peacock that's gone down. The man that's meant to start in the front row in second position. So there we go. It's Ardale's hairpin that is catching out everyone so far. And well, that's the last thing you want, is to go down on the green flag lap, because that means that's not even, they're probably doing about half the speed they would be on an aggressive lap. So, well, Reece perhaps a little bit more sensitive on lap 1 than what he's just done there, because that would have shaken him up a little bit. And well, Taylor Lawrence, what can he do from the pole? He took yesterday's race win. Jamie King in 3rd with Reece Peacock in 2nd. We're following behind, but nowhere near. Taylor had it all his own way. It was very, very easy indeed. And well, the 10 was just sitting there waiting. Where's Reece? He was next to me at the start of this formation lap, and look, there we go. Look, he's not there. Where are you? As he has a quick glance behind, and Reece Peacock's going to have to make his way through the middle of everyone. There we go. Here we go, slaloming his way down throughout the order, and there you go, Taylor with his hand out. What happened to you? Here we go. We get ready to kick off race 2s for the pit bike 140s. Lights on. It's a pause. Here we go, lights off. Oh, a big lift to the tyre there for the mid-pack of the 21, but it is Taylor Lawrence that gets a good getaway. That is Owen Mellor in second position now. It's got past Reece Peacock for second. Here's the Motorsport Radio on board from Jamie King as he gets back down the inside of Nathan Riggy on the 59 in towards 4th position as they go into McRae's hairpin. You can see the spray being kicked up from the tyres in front of him as they go down towards Ardale's hairpin. Will this catch anyone out like it did with Reece Peacock on the green flag lap? This is, you can see elbows out already. There's bar bashing going on throughout the field. There's only 18 of them. We're used to seeing almost 40 of them on circuit, but already they're getting their elbows out. And well, they're doing their lap in anger, and at the moment it's Taylor Lawrence from Owen Mellor. Reece Peacock down to 3rd position.
Indeed it is. What a start there from Lawrence and Peacock. We saw in the mid-pack there was some real big lifts from the big wheelies going on there from the mid-pack almost, and back on board with Jay King here down in 4th place, I believe it is. A little bit of a stutter there from the camera. I think he got jumped off the start and then managed to get it back up. But it is Taylor Lawrence who leads this race, the only man into the 101s as well on the first lap, and that Jay King's actually worked his way up to P3, so Reece Peacock's really gone backwards on the first lap. Down to P4 he goes, so it is Taylor Lawrence that leads this race. Owen Mellor in P2, Jay King in P3, then Reece Peacock and Nathan Riggy losing out big time on the opening lap.
Yeah, great start there from Taylor. Fastest lap of the race as well, 1:01.645. 9 laps left to go. Plenty more racing here in the pit bike 140s. Owen Mellor once again, a really good run for the 30 bike. Jamie King getting his way past Reece Peacock on that last lap. So Jamie, with that Motorsport Radio on board camera, is looking at making his way forward. He finished on the podium yesterday. Can he do so today? He's got some work to do, however, on the 76, but he does say, oh no, maybe he's got even more work. That's a big crash there for King. He's gone down on the exit of the final corner, and the bike is all, you can see that's a big crash there for Jamie. Really unfortunate for him. Will he be able to get a restart? No, you can see that's it. Race done for Jamie King. Pushes the bike to the side. He is not happy. He's picking up pieces from everywhere. Oh, Jamie, that is absolutely gutting. That is the man that was the reigning champion in the pit bike 140s this time around. It has not worked out as he takes a seat at the side, and that's his race done.
Indeed, it is big shame there for Jay King. We just saw as we came on board, we were expecting some on-track action. Instead, we got a full of grass, but a big shame for him, and he's sitting there really dejected. More trouble there, more riders struggling out in the wet. I think it is really starting to hammer it down outside now, so it's really getting very tricky out there. These bikes as well, they've only got 2 wheels, and those wheels are quite small, so they can't get rid of any standing water on the circuit practically. But Jay King, he's just sitting there very dejected. You can see he's upset by that. He was running in P3, but it's just not meant to be for him today, and a big shame, of course. And of course, he was the one carrying our onboard camera, so we won't be getting any more of that until race 3, hopefully. But a big shame there for Jay King. But it is still Taylor Lawrence who leads this race by an absolute country mile at this point. He's got nearly 2 seconds to Owen Miller behind, the fastest lap of the race to boot as well, a 1 minute 0.312. He is absolutely flying out there, clearly loving these wet conditions and living his best life on that number 10 bike.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I can't even remember. I was just about to say, Jay always says to us that he loves racing in the rain. He loves it. So I'm always much better in the wet. Unfortunately for him, didn't work out this time. However, Taylor clearly does. He's leading away. Championship leader, race winner yesterday. Owen Miller having a good run in second, 1.7 seconds behind. Then Reece Peacock, who's managed to recover back to third. Marco Pandolfo, he's having his best run in the last, I can imagine, last season and a half, if not. He was 4th yesterday. He's running in 4th yesterday. Matt Lindley, equally, he finished in 5th yesterday. He is leading the Pit Bike 140 Rookies Championship. And just to confirm, that rider that we saw making his way back up earlier was Giorgio Scalata. He's dropped down outside of the top 10. Giorgio, who had a good race yesterday, finishing inside the top 6. But, it shows you just how difficult these yellow flags still out on the side of the circuit. So you can see there are still people having issues with the bike. The conditions are very tricky. You can see them navigating their way throughout the puddles. They're almost slaloming their way throughout the circuit. It's the last thing you want to do. You want to be going in a straight line, but they're having to really find a way around these wet lines. Side by side down towards Ardale's hairpin. Well, there is Taylor Lawrence still leading away comfortably. He's making it look easy. He's pretty much been the man to beat all season long. He's only really had Rossi Bannon for company in the majority of the races. Clay Pigeon, he picked up a win in race 1. Unfortunately, electrical issue in race 2 caused him a retirement, a 4th in race 3 with an issue too. But yesterday he came back with a victory, picked up the race win, and this time around, he's got 5 laps left to go. He's just got to keep that machine up on 2 wheels, and he should be picking up another 25 championship points to add to his ever-growing tally as he looks to charge towards the Pit Bike 140 championship.
Indeed it does, and just to know, obviously with this weather, it's probably affecting the pit bikes and the most. Obviously the pit bikes, they can run all over the curbs and all onto the grass if they really wanted to, but obviously in the rain you just can't do that. You can't touch the turb because the difference in traction between the track, because actually perversely enough, the curbs have more grip out there today. I went out onto the track this morning and just ran my shoe across, and the curb at turn 1 had a lot more grip than the track did, but you just cannot do that because the change in traction is too great. It will just throw you off the balance of the bike will completely change. You're done. So they can't run the curbs. They can't do what they normally do. So they're going to have to think. They're going to have to be smart, really change the line there. You can see they're running very tight, not even thinking about running off the big curb there at the exit of the left-hander in the downhill section. So it really shakes up how the pit bikes are going to ride and how they're going to use the tarmac and use the track across the race. But that's what Taylor Lawrence is doing. And actually, Owen Miller just took the fastest lap of the race, the only rider into the 59-second bracket, 59.878. So he's now starting to maybe close the gap. That was 5 tenths quicker than Taylor Lawrence on that last lap. So maybe he's the one thinking more smartly now, because it's all about where you can gauge where the performance is in the wet. It's all about, you know, giving a little bit more, taking those risks, and trying and pushing the bike as almost gently as you can. And he is starting to reel in Taylor Lawrence now. So Owen Miller clearly the rider with the most pace at the moment.
Yeah, and I was talking to Chris Wells and Clay Pigeon, who came and joined me for commentary for race 1 of the pit bikes, and I was asking him, when you're catching someone, do you feel yourself getting quicker? And he said, yeah, that's how you see yourself lap for lap. You're getting closer. You can see that you're taking a line through some of these corners, and it gives you that boost in confidence, because you know that you can just eke some time out over them. And you can see Owen Miller really starting to catch Taylor now. Taylor looks as though he's had a strong edge to this lap. The gap last time around was 1.2. What is it? Has it extended? Yeah, it's 1.6. So Owen with a little bit of a slower lap there, because Taylor also dipping into the 59s. He's just done a 59.593. The fastest lap of the race was a 0.4 of a second advantage over Owen's time, so gapping in by 0.4. Oh, arm up in the air for Taylor. Is that a thank you to the lap bike? I believe that might be a bit of a thank you rather than an issue for Taylor. And well, taking it pretty casually. And there's Jay King off to the side trying to pick up the pieces. That bike, it looks like unfortunately was made out of Lego, everything that's fallen off it, so it's a real shame there for Jamie. He'll be back, I'm sure, in race 3 if he can get that bike put back together. But it's still Taylor with 3 laps left to go, leading away from Owen Miller. Reece Peacock in a lonely 3rd position. Matt Lindley has now passed Marco Pandolfo for 4th position.
Indeed he has. That's great for Matt Lindley as well in the Rookies Championship. Obviously that isn't an official championship, it's organised by the pit bike riders themselves in their own communities. That's great to see the community aspect of Fab Racing going in there, and now we can see there Lawrence and Miller just trading fastest laps. Lawrence was they were all a little bit slower that time around, but Miller just a little bit slower that time round, so it's really tight between those two. They're trading fastest laps here and there, but as I said, really great for Matt Lindley in the Rookies Championship. He is streaking away at the front of that, and that is another great haul of points for him there. But it is still Taylor Lawrence that leads this race. 2 laps to go. If Owen Miller wants to get it done, he needs to catch up to the back now. He's just under 2 seconds behind at the line last time round, so he's got a bit of an ask to do. 2 seconds, it is doable, I should rather say, in the wet, but it's going to be a big ask. It's a tall order, but then again, Taylor Lawrence could come off, but obviously he's also been out there comfortable in the wet, and he's doing a stellar job right now.
Well, he got held up by a little bit of traffic there, and he's got a little bit more ahead of him, so he's going to have to go the long way around, and he gets the move done. Very nicely done there for Taylor. So he's now put 2 bikes in between himself and Owen Miller. Owen's going to get caught out surely into turn 1. This is going to cost him time. Owen's going to try and send down to the inside, but he gets sat up in the mid corner, so that's going to lose so much time. Last time around, Owen and Taylor matching each other's lap time to the 1,000th of a second, but well, you can see Owen is going to get caught. He's been caught up so much. You can see a shake of the head there, and he looks down, not happy at all. Gets caught up in all that lap traffic, and that, with 1 lap left to go, is surely it. Taylor Lawrence coming up now to lap the 112. And well, he's just going to make his way past, as you can see, as hugs that apex line. Taylor Lawrence has done exactly what he needed to do. Led from the front, and well, once again making it look easy. He's had a fight from Owen Miller behind. He's had to push a little bit harder than maybe he was wanting to, but you can see, quick glance behind, he's on his own as he comes up to the final corner, and Taylor Lawrence is going to go 2 for 2 here at Rowrah at the 5th round of the Fab Racing Mini Bike British Championship Pit Bike 140s.
What a performance there from Taylor Lawrence. Crosses the line to take race 2. Owen Miller behind, unfortunately just caught out by that traffic, and we knew when he was shaking his head, he knew that was it. It was done. Little bit of a fist bump trying to go on there. I think Owen overshot Taylor by a little bit as he was working his way around. Reece Peacock will come home to round out the podium as well, so good for him. Matthew Lindley taking the rookie class win in P4. Great stuff for him. And it's Whitaker in P5. Pandolfo will be in P6. 7th, Graham 8th, O'Keefe 9th, and Katz rounding out the top 10. It'll be Payne, Monks, Glover, Scarlata, O'Keefe and Foster rounding out the finishes here. Obviously, we saw Jay King having a big tumble early on, and that was it. In terms of his bike was concerned. Hopefully he's able to get that repaired for race 3, because we'd love some more onboard action And as well, I do believe we lost somebody else in that race. I'm not sure who it was, but more pit bike action, of course. They'll be back later on for race 3, as always, with all the other classes after lunch, and more, hopefully, drier action, because the wet is really causing havoc here at Rowrah. But now I do believe we are heading on to the AC40 Pros.
We are indeed back down to mini bikes for the Pro category. But before we do that, we'd like to say welcome, everyone. Good morning. Hopefully you're all having a lovely Sunday morning. This is the 5th round of FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. My name is Gareth Hall. I've been joined this weekend by Ross McIntyre. We're up here in the Lake District for the 5th round up at Cumbria Kart Circuit, otherwise known as Rowrah. And, well, we've had already a fantastic weekend's racing. Dry yesterday, wet today. Exactly what you want to see, these mixed conditions, testing out these riders in all bikes, whether that be the mini bikes, the pit bikes, the sidecars, all of them. And, well, we're set for the race 2s. For the few more, the race 2s and the race 3s. But if you're watching at home, do get in touch with us. Do all the good stuff you do on the socials. And, well, we always like to see you chatting away and supporting wherever you are around the world. We know that we get a lot of international viewers and friends and family that are watching. So a very good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever to you. Hopefully you're all having a great day. And do drop into the comments. Let us know who you're supporting, where you're watching from. And equally, if you've got any predictions you're expected to see. Do you think anyone's particularly good in the wet? What are we going to see from these AC40 Pros? Are you watching the Pros? Who's going to win this one? Will it be Archie O'Brien? Will it be Finlay Polhill? Could it possibly even be the likes of Chloe Sewell? She's making her way out onto the grid as well as Archie O'Brien. Well, has he recovered from that, what I'm sure will be gutting feeling after coming unstuck on the pole position in the LC40 Elite? Just a few races ago, the bike rolled around to the grid and then just cut out and died. So it's another issue for the LC bike for Archie O'Brien. But what can he do on the AC? Of course, AC and LC, slightly different bikes. The AC40 Elite, an air-cooled 40cc engine with a restrictor plate on the exhaust. The LC40 liquid-cooled 40cc engine, no restrictor plate. However, they still go very, very quickly indeed. And, well, Archie O'Brien, he'll be lining up on pole position. Finlay Polhill in second position with Hamish McIntosh is due to line up in third, but I can't see Hamish on the grid, so that means Chloe Sewell will be in third, and then is the Johnson brothers with Austin and Byron behind her in 5th and 6th position. And it looks as though that might be Hamish McIntosh that's just making his way around now, so hopefully we will have our third place starter coming in as Hamish in his debut weekend here at Fab. He'll be coming in and filtering into third place.
Indeed he will. There we can see, there he goes, lines up in third. I did see him, he was up the top of first as they head off on their green flag lap, and he then carted back round. I think they had a bit of issue starting the bike, and then carted back into the paddock and then just shot back out again. So not sure what's going on, potentially a few bike issues, but he's lined up in third place now. Hopefully he's all okay. Can Archie O'Brien deal with early's heartbreak with his engine issues? We know that that AC bike has been suffering a little bit, or the LC bike, apologies, been suffering a little bit, but back on the ACs now on pole position. Let's hope that he can make the start this time round as they head out on their green flag lap. Just trading place. Of course, you are allowed to trade places on the green flag lap as long as you just return to the correct grid slot. And, as they head out of Arsdale's hairpin now, it is still very, very wet out there. And I'd just like to shout out to our cameramen who are standing out there getting very soaking. We're all lovely and dry here in the commentary box, and they're getting a bit wet. So they've done a very good job for us across this weekend. So thank you to them. And of course, thank you to everyone here involved at Fab, the marshals, the stewards, the riders themselves. Obviously, this has all been a fantastic organisation. It's been a fantastic season as well, and it wouldn't be possible, of course, without any of the riders showing up. Anybody watching, of course, on the live streams as well, you're always helping support the championship. So thank you very much for all of that as we now come round. And of course, we are on the road to MotoGP, of course, so you may be potentially in a few years seeing some of these riders that you're now supporting on the big stage over in British Superbikes, over in MotoGP. We do have a few riders on British Superbikes that have made it into MotoGP, into World Superbikes before, so we'll just have to see. But now, as they land up onto the grid, Chloe Sewell on her bright pink bike, in her bright pink suit and helmet, lines up on the grid. We wait now for the light to go on. It'll be a very brief moment before it goes on. Lights on, lights off, and away we go. Archie O'Brien doesn't get the best start. It is Finlay Polhill who takes the lead away from the line, and Hamish McIntosh actually trying to get away onto the inside into third. Chloe Sewell had a really dreadful start. She's back in sixth, but it is Finlay Polhill that leads this way. Archie O'Brien got a dreadful start, just got absolutely nowhere away from the line. Finlay Polhill, meanwhile, from second position was an absolute rocket ship. Then we can see Hamish McIntosh struggling a bit out the corner. Austin Johnson trying to have a go, and I think he's already got past him actually. So he has indeed. Chloe Saul, though, not sure what happened there. She just did not get away at all. She's running down in 6th place, is running, but clearly a few issues away from the line.
Yeah, but here we go. Finley Polehill, because here comes Byron Johnson. Byron is very, very quick indeed, and he's starting to challenge Finley, and he's actually going to take a look to the inside. Byron Johnson, who started down the order, but he's now up into the lead of this one, so great start from Johnson. He's made his way up past the 199, Finley Polehill. Finley, who's finished second in this category for the last 3 races, and Archie O'Brien, he's got a little bit of work to do sitting behind Finley Polehill now. He's managed to get back past Austin Johnson, and he's going to go to the inside of Finley Polehill into the final. Door is closed surely, but Archie's going to think about it. Not quite able to get the move done originally, but he gets it done on the second phase of the corner. So Archie O'Brien now back up into second position. Austin Johnson tries to follow him through, but Finley Powell shuts the door, but Austin's going to try and go back around the outside. Austin Johnson gets sat up big in the middle of the corner going up the hill, and that's going to cost him some time. Hamish McIntosh is going to try and stay in this battle, but I had a chat with Archie O'Brien. There's Hamish McIntosh going down to the hairpin. So easy to do. He's back up in his feet straight away, back on the bike. Hopefully the engine's still running. He can get back underway. So he tries to get it back all in sorted, and he does get it back underway. So he's dropped down behind Chloe Saul now, but straight back into the race. And that's Austin Johnson that's having an issue as well. Austin trying to get that bike restarted. Austin, it has not been your weekend. It just all seems to have gone wrong. All the bikes, he's just having so many issues. A real shame there for Austin Johnson. So he's off at the side of the circuit at Ardell's hairpin, but Hamish McIntosh back in the race. Byron Johnson, however, leading away from Archie O'Brien in this one. Can Archie catch up to Byron? Because Byron's still got a pretty handy lead, and he's coming around the final corner here to start. 7 laps left to go in this second race of the weekend for the AC40 Pros. Archie O'Brien, as I was saying, I was having a quick chat with him both at the end of Clay Pigeon and also the start of the weekend. I said, you just need to pick up points. It's all about being consistent. He doesn't need to win every race, but he's such a he's so determined. He's such a winner that he's like, but I want to win every race. I want to make sure that I start the championship as early as possible, and then I can relax. And I said, look, it's all about being consistent. Just make sure you get to the end on 2 wheels, and then the championship will surely follow, because at the moment he's got a pretty big lead in that championship as Finley Polehill pulling off slow. Is he slow on exit though? It looks as though he might have just got a little bit deep into the corner, lost a little bit of time, and Finley on the 199 in 3rd position now behind Archie O'Brien.
Indeed, it is Byron Johnson with a great lap last time round, a 108.048. That was 6/10 faster than the man in second place, Archie O'Brien. He's got a 1.8 second gap, and then we see Hamish McIntosh having a bit of a battle with Chloe Saul going around the outside. Lovely move there. It's a lot of bravery to go around the outside in the wet, but if it does stick, it's a great move, and that is what McIntosh has just done there. Great move. It is still Byron Johnson that leads this race with a 107 now, 107.684. Archie O'Brien has managed to bring it down to a 108 dead, but Johnson's still 4/10 faster on that last lap. He is really flying at the moment. He's got a 2.2 second gap back to Archie O'Brien, who went off with pole, had not the best start in the world, got past Finley Polehill, and Byron Johnson out of absolutely nowhere just shot past everyone on the 37 and is now absolutely flying out the front. There we can see Austin Johnson. He was able to get going again. I thought he was out, and that was that. I had a glass out of our window, and he was pushing the bike through the gravel rather dejectedly, but he's managed to get it going once again. He is a lap down though. Hopefully he'll be able to make that time up, but there is only 6 laps to go, so maybe just a bit of a test session here for Austin Johnson, seeing how the bike handles, try and get it ready for race 3. But it is still his brother Byron Johnson leading this race with a very nice fastest lap as well in very tricky conditions. He'll just be heading around the final section now. That's Hamish McIntosh, who's gone off at Ardell's as well, trying to get the bike started. That's his second down of this race, clearly struggling with these conditions, and just waiting for Byron Johnson. Hasn't gone faster that time round. It was a 107.764. Archie O'Brien was really off the pace. He was a second and a half off his best lap, so O'Brien really struggling out there.
Yeah, so Archie, a little bit of work to do. 109.1 was a second and a half slower than Byron Johnson in second position. Finley Polehill in 3rd position as Hamish McIntosh out of this one, unfortunately. That bike not able to get restarted, so the rider in his debut weekend, unfortunately, out of the race. That promotes Chloe Saul up into the top 5. There is Austin and Byron, so Byron's coming around to lap his brother as Byron goes through. Austin just lets him past, and Byron has been absolutely superb in some of these races this season. He really seems to switch it on. It looks as though it's all been going Byron's way this weekend, and unfortunately not going the way of Austin. We tend to see these two battling on circuit, but it's not going that way in this 40s category so far this weekend. Byron, who's maybe not had the best of runs in the pros, he's been much better on the elite bike this season. In the pros, he's only been on the podium just a handful of times, just 2 times. A 3rd place back at round 2 at Lid, and a 2nd place back at Clay Pigeon. But apart from that, he's tended to be outside. He's tended to be outside of the podium, in the likes of Archie O'Brien, Harrison Day, who's been very good, as Chloe Sewell making her way out around the circuit. Looks as though she's got a knee down just to give herself the balance around some of these corners. It's very easy to make a wrong decision here. So Chloe, it looks as though just a riding style that just allows her a little bit more balance than hers. Oh, there is an issue once again for Austin Johnson. That bike just does not want to play ball. A real shame there for him. But of course, as you were saying, it's a bit of a test take. It's points. That's why you want to finish. If you get across the line at the end of the race, no matter how many laps down you are, it's points in the championship.
It is indeed. So obviously Austin will want to make it across the line. I think Hamish McIntosh might have gone down again somewhere as well, because Johnson has got back past him. Chloe Sewell as well. We saw that. I think she's just struggling with her confidence a bit. She's holding her knee out, just trying to keep her balance. So I think she's just not enjoying these conditions. It is very tricky out there. We've been saying that all day long, and the rain really has been hammering it down. So it is tough for these riders out there, but they're doing a spectacular job, keeping it on, keeping it stable. So she's going to bring it home in P4 as well as it stands, which would be her best finish of the season, I believe, in the pros, which would be a great result for her as she heads now down the back straight. We've got 3 laps to go. It is still Byron Johnson who leads this race. Archer O'Brien has started to set faster laps now, but it's too little too late with 3 laps to go. He's got a 5.2 second gap to make up. If Byron keeps it on the road, keeps on the bike with the lap times that he's setting, while they're slower than Archer O'Brien, he's not going to be caught, and he's just should be cruising home really. He actually gives himself a bit of a pedal along there with his left leg. Clearly thinks he can go a bit faster down the straights if he gives himself a bit of a push there on the 37. Now we can see, just having a glance back, trying to check where Archer O'Brien is, and seeing a massive gap behind him. He's probably thinking he can cruise home to the end.
Yeah, don't count chickens just yet. I've been here at Fab long enough to know that it can all go wrong in the final lap. Ask the likes of Clayton Edmonds, led the race all race long, got to the end, 10-second lead. Unfortunately, bike just stopped with a few corners left to go. Byron Johnson, he can take as many looks behind as he wants, but he's about to go and start the penultimate lap of this one as he tucks back in down the straight and then tucks back out to get a balance into the trickiest complex of corners on this. It is an uphill section off camber, very tricky in these conditions. We saw it both last year and this year that it's catching out a number of riders across all categories, not just the mini bikes but also the pit bikes and the mini GP bikes. Well, he's got a little bit of work to do. There's a little bit of oil that's been dropped, or fluid that's been dropped down by Hamish McIntosh's bike down at Ardale's hairpin, so you want to hug that inside line. There's a bit of cement dust down to cover that over. But Byron Johnson, well, he's got a 4.9 second advantage now of Archie O'Brien. It looks as though Archie is going to settle for 2nd position, just getting the points. And as you say, Byron just paddling a little bit and feels like he's maybe dropping it a little bit too low in his revs coming out of some of these hairpins, with being a little bit more cautious on that throttle. And he can afford to maybe just be a little bit more careful. You can hear just feathering that throttle as he makes his way around. He knows he's just going to do one more tour of this Rowrah circuit, and he will be a race winner for the first time this season in the AC40 Pros.
Indeed, of course, he doesn't need to risk the bike. He's got a very healthy lead behind, doesn't need to risk the engine, doesn't need to risk himself by pushing O'Brien behind. Of course, we know he's a very competitive kid. He's of course going to be going as fast as he absolutely can. He may have settled for 2nd, but knowing Archie, I doubt that's the case. He's going to be pushing right to the end. But Byron Johnson, as you can see there again, just taking it very easy out of the corners. He has no reason whatsoever to be going as fast as he can. He can just bring this home, be gentle on the bike, make sure it's all okay at the end of the race. Because obviously if he's pushing hard, if he has an accident, or if the engine has a problem, if he's pushing too hard at the end of the race, then not only does that ruin his chances of a win here, and he's got a 6-second lead now on O'Brien, but that ruins his chances for race 3 as well. That's a lot of work to do on that bike in a very short space of time into the afternoon. So no lunch break for Byron Johnson if he does break it, but it doesn't look like he is, because he's only got a few corners to go, and it's been a very spectacular performance, hasn't he? He's been absolutely flawless out the front and just crawling away And as he brings it round the final corner now, it's been very quick from Byron Johnson and understandable. What a performance here to take race 2 in the FAB-Racing round 5 at Rowrah. He wins here. The checkered flag is out. Chloe Sewell will finish in P4, her best finish of the season. Great result for her. Archie O'Brien comes home second as well. It's not the win that he would have wanted, but it's still points nonetheless. It will be Finlay Polehill in P3 as well. Unfortunately, we did lose Austin Johnson at the end and Hamish McIntosh early on as well. So those are the only 4 bikes left at the end of the race. But what a performance from Byron Johnson there. Simply flawless. And it was just out the front, pulling away from O'Brien. Nobody could touch him today.
Yeah, fantastic result there from the youngster from Charlie Bassett in Oxfordshire. I'll probably be following them home. It's not too far from me. But yeah, Byron and well, different moods, I'm sure, in the Johnson camp as they go back to the paddock, as Austin, unfortunately, another issue with the bike means that it's a time of him. But Byron will be delighted. His first win of the season in the pros. Archie O'Brien, well, it's not the win, but it is more points in the championship. This is coming ever closer. Finlay Polehill equally back on the podium once again in this category. He's making a habit of it and he's doing a stellar job. Finlay, who's having a fantastic run, and equally, as you say, Chloe Sewell, the 101, her best result, 4th place, is some solid points in the Pro Championship. Great to see Chloe out there and learning with each lap on the circuit in difficult conditions. But next up, well, it's the big one. It's the Premier class at FAB. It's the riders that are very much thinking to the future. It is the MKGP 70s. Of course, FAB is an official partner of the British Superbikes. It is part of Dorna's Road to MotoGP, and there is hashtag FS75 right in front of you. That is Filip Sorowiak. He was your race winner yesterday, and well, I almost lost my voice. I was so excited for Filip. I was absolutely elated. He's been there or thereabouts all season long, just waiting for that win, waiting and waiting. He's been so close, and finally yesterday he managed to hold off Mason Foster by the smallest of margins and take home a first win here in the 70s.
Indeed, but as you said, not an easy win for Sorowiak, was it? Foster was all over the back of him on that 88 bike, and he has been quick all weekend. And now with the rain coming down as well, as we've been saying all day long, the conditions are so different to Friday and Saturday, so it's really anybody's guess who's going to be quick here. Ollie Horner, he's going to be one to watch off a 4th on the grid. He was rapid away from the lights and then was defending for his life all race on, came home in P5. But it will be Filip Sorowiak once again starting from pole position. Mason Foster lining up alongside him. Again, Ethan Sparks in P3. He had an engine problem yesterday, so that's why he wasn't catching up to the front 2. We thought he just didn't have the pace, but he was actually struggling with the bike. So hopefully that's all solved for today, and he can get back up there, get up and fight with Sorowiak, Foster, and hopefully there'll be a few more in there as well. Of course, we love an exciting race at FAB. Who doesn't want to see a 10 bike fight for the lead? I know I would certainly love to see as they head off on the green flag lap. As I once said, it is Sorowiak on pole position, Mason Foster lining up alongside him. Ethan Sparks, your championship leader from P3. Ollie Horner, he will be quick off the grid today in P4. Then Ben Jolliffe and Charlie Huntingford making up row 3. Clayton Edmonds and Ronnie Harris are row 4. Harry Payne is 9th. Cameron Sewell is 10th. And Greg Marshall and Paddy Moore making up row 6. And there's Felix Stalling starting from the back, and that's Ollie Horner down already. Ollie Horner's gone down already, coming out of one of the hairpins, I believe that is. Very bizarre. We've seen a few riders. Having issues on the green flag laps, and Ollie Horner falling victim to the conditions. Not sure what's happened there. Hopefully he's able to keep going, and looks like he has. So very bizarre stuff there from. Oh, and another one down as well.
That's Paddy Moore that's gone down at Ardale's hairpin. So 2 riders going down on the green flag lap, showing you just how tricky it is out there. It is unfortunately it's one of those problems that you have when you've not really been out in these conditions all weekend long. And well, Filip Sorowiak, what can he do? He's got the likes of Mason Foster to deal with alongside him. What can Ethan Sparks do? Has that bike been fixed? We've been told that he's got a big future ahead of him, but he's taking it at his own pace. He's going to work here at FAB for a while and just work on that pace, because he has got some electric speed. Sparks is very much in his nature. However, Filip Sorowiak, what's the confidence like in the Sorowiak camp after yesterday's win? Mason Foster was looking mega fast in warm-up earlier today as we get ready to kick off this one. Ollie Horner, yet to come into 4th position. We'll see if Ollie can come around. Of course, Ollie in those bright yellow leathers. Mason Foster, however, looking forward. There is the 70. It's great to see Ollie's managed to get back in. And there is 11. That's Harry Payne that's come into position as well. The 125. Watch out for Ben Jolliffe. Ben Jolliffe, a bit of an unknown quantity. He seems to switch it on when the rain comes down. But here we go. Lights on for the 70s. Get ready, because here we go down to turn 1. It's a great start there from Rowrah, but Mason Foster with an even better one around the outside, taking the lead and the whole shot into turn 1. Ethan Sparks, and then into in 4th position. That's Charlie Huntingford. Great start there from Charlie. Ollie Horner being jumped by him into the first corner. Ben Jolliffe going side by side and goes down the inside of Ollie Horner. So there you go, Jolliffe up into 5th position now. Ollie Horner demoted 2 positions off the line.
Indeed he was. I actually thought that Rowrah got a slightly better start, and that's Foster that's gone down from the lead of the race. So Foster, who got the lead from the start, goes down.
Yeah, the throttle's stuck open on the bike as well, so he can't get it up yet because it will just kick the bike out. There we go, the throttle's been closed. Oh, Mason, he's going to be losing so much time, and that is played perfectly into the hands of Philip Rowrah and Ethan Sparks. Ethan Sparks, who of course is leading this championship now by only 5 points after Mason finished ahead of him in the race yesterday. So Ethan would have seen that. He just knows that he's just got to keep it on 2 wheels and get round to the end of this one. But we can see that the conditions are very tricky. These guys haven't run in the rain in anger this weekend. They did a warm-up session earlier on today, but the rain has got worse since then. Ben Jolliffe now is in that battle with Clayton Edmonds, but here we go. Ethan Sparks now getting caught by Charlie Huntingford. So Charlie having on the charge now up into 3rd position with Mason Foster's instant, and down to the side. Oh, that's Paddy Moore once again on the 145. I believe it's the 145, having an issue on the bike. But well, Clayton up past Ben Jolliffe now, so Clayton getting the move done. There goes Cameron Sewell down at Ardales as well. So an issue there once again. You can see a lot of riders getting caught out by the hairpin, and it is just another one to add to the list. You can see some oil there from Mason Foster's car on the exit. You can see the patches on the circuit. So sorry, his bike. We'll get there eventually. It's been 2 years. I should know this by now. You expect the oil to come out of the bottom of the car now. But is that Foster off to the side? We'll see in a second. That was a bike off to the side, just flashed past us. But well, it is all going off here in the MKGP 70s, but it's Philip Rowrah leading away, and 75 is leading by a country mile, because Ethan Sparks has now got Charlie Huntsford and Clayton Edmonds for company for 2nd position, and in fact they're bringing along with Ben Jolliffe and Ronnie Harris. Ronnie, who told you this weekend that he enjoys running in the rain. Well, at the moment he's in the hunt for a podium. He's in 6th position. He's got to make up some moves, but you can see that he's still well within striking distance, because he's got to get past Ben Jolliffe. There goes Ethan Sparks. He's got Charlie Huntsford alongside him. Charlie just hanging along the inside, trying to make a move, but he shuts the door, gets onto the painted curbs. You don't want to do that. That's Ollie Horner down again. Ollie, who went down on the green flag lamp. And there you can see there's the oil from Mason Foster's bike. Was he caught out by that, or is that a separate incident? But wet tyres on, of course. They will be all running the wet tyres, but clearly still not enough. Still the adhesion to the track surface is not playing in their favour. But here comes Charlie Huntsford trying to make the attack on Ethan Sparks, and this is allowing Philip Rowrah. Philip Rowrah is absolutely firing off into the distance. 57 seconds is 2 seconds faster than anyone else on circuit.
That is absolutely phenomenal from Rowrah, and yeah, the conditions are very, very tricky. We're seeing riders falling left, right and centre. Sparks and Huntingford have swapped places there, so Sparks, or Huntingford even, apologies, finally gets through on Sparks, but Sparks at this point is thinking his main championship rival looking like he's out of the race, so his current objective is surely just to come home and get a good haul of points. But Rowrah is absolutely soaring out the front at the moment, at 57 from 8.36. His fastest lap is 2 seconds a lap quicker than anybody else out there at the moment. He is absolutely soaring away. It is unbelievable how quick he's going at the moment. And as he crosses the line again, it's another 57.
Yeah, what a lap there from Rowrah, but what a move there from Ronnie Harris. Absolutely sending it on Ben Jolliffe, really catching the 125 out, and Ronnie now moving up into 5th position on circuit past the 125. So Ronnie can now set his eyes on Clayton Edmonds on the 146, and Ronnie, of course, runner up in the championship. Oh no, that's a rider down. on exit is that's 125. That's Ben Jolliffe that's gone down. He will be look, you can see he's absolutely livid. He was running in the top 6. Well, it just shows you it's so easy to get it wrong here. Ronnie Harris there on exit, now starting to close the gap between himself and Clayton Edmonds. Clayton Edmonds still in the hunt for a podium. He's starting to close in on Ethan Sparks. Of course, Ethan Sparks, we know, had an issue with the bike on Friday practice, came into the racing, and unfortunately had that issue cause him some time. Well, it looks as though he might either be struggling in the rain, or we'll see if I'm sure I'll be told afterwards if the bike is still the same, but he's still picking up solid points, and that's what Ethan needs to do. Mason Foster non-scoring this one. He is down and out, but Filip Soroviak now 9.4 seconds in the lead. He's catching up to lap Ollie Horner. Ollie down in 11th position after that fall earlier on in the race, and Filip, well, he can take his time here passing Ollie. Ollie, I'm sure we'll see him go down the inside and gives him the room. Filip takes a glance over Filip, and Filip Soroviak and Ethan Sparks, very, very good friends off of the circuit. But well, the times are now starting to come down, but they're still being well, almost matched by Filip Soroviak. So even though he's leading away 9.4 seconds, he's still putting in some solidly quick laps, lap after lap.
Indeed, he is. Mason Foster, actually, who we saw have that fall very, very early on, down in P12 on the 88. He's just set the fastest lap of the race with a 57.671. So he's down the rider who's quickest, but he is all the way down in 12th. So that's not where you want to be, really. Even though it's great to set the fastest lap of the race, of course, you want to be up the front. Soroviak, frankly, at this stage, could ride backwards and still win this race. He is so far ahead of everybody else, 2.3 seconds back to Charlie Huntingford, who again is now got a second and a bit on Sparks behind. And there is Foster, the fastest rider on track at the moment. Obviously was going off of 2, was hounded Soroviak all race long yesterday, and was really fighting for that win. In the end, just couldn't quite get the move done, and then obviously going off of 2, got the jump on Soroviak, and then having a tumble on the opening lap through the first few corners, and he's now trying to wind his way back through, trying to get up into the top 10 at least. And I'm sure even if he doesn't come away with a great haul of points, he's still thinking, I want to put in a good performance and come away from this race happy and confident in the bike going into race 3. He squeezes up the inside there of the 66 of Ronnie Harris, trying to unlap himself, and he is really flying at the moment. You can see it's a shame he's down in 12th.
Yeah, that's only a handful of points for Mason Foster down there in 12th position. He's trying to catch up to Ollie Horner, but making his way throughout the trying to unlap himself, he does, through Ronnie Harris. So Ronnie probably looking behind him and trying to work out if he was trying to be overtaken or lapped there. But Ollie Horner is now leading this. He's a lap down, so he's going to have to let everyone pass. Here goes Charlie Huntingford, but Ethan Sparks. Will Ethan get caught out into the braking zone? Ollie pulls to the outside line. Clayton's going to go down the inside, but he's not going to find the room. But there's Mason Foster. Mason, who is a couple of laps down as well. So Mason's going to have to make up some positions to even get back involved in the fight with Ollie Horner, because of course Ollie is pulling to the side, but Mason will know all points are going to be crucial. Championship with Ethan Sparks still sitting on the podium. Clayton Edmonds there is still sitting in 4th position. Ronnie Harris is now he's now got Mason Foster and Ronnie Harris between himself and some of the other riders. Sorry, Mason Foster and Ollie Horner. But here comes the 146. You can see he's let Mason Foster through, but we've got riders that are really struggling. We've got a rider down. It looks as though Harry Payne might have gone down on the exit of one of the corners in the 3rd sector of the circuit. Charlie Huntford still in a 2nd position. Charlie, who will be looking for, and this would be one of his best results this season. In fact, it would be his best result. Oh, there is Harry Payne. Really unfortunate for Harry. He's been running really nicely at Rowrah this weekend, and that's the 11 down to the side of the circuit. But Charlie looking to beat his best result of 3rd that he picked up back at Red Lodge, 2nd place, but he's got to keep the very fast championship leader Ethan Sparks behind him. And is that Mason Foster that's now trying to unlap himself past Ethan Sparks. So there we go. That's a bit of a mind game there of, Mason going, I know I'm a couple of laps down, but I'm quicker than you at the moment. You can see him bobbing his head. Look, I can get past Ethan. I just need to get back past everyone. 3 laps left to go, and Filip Soroviak now leading by 11.4 seconds. He is really putting down some blistering times. And then it is the battle between Charlie Huntford and Ethan Sparks, but you can see Sparks has lost a little bit of ground. In fact, he's going to possibly even come under threat from Clayton Edmonds, the 146, starting to strike, looking for 3rd place.
Indeed, he is just looking at Foster carving his way through. It's such a shame that he had that fall earlier on. I'd love to have seen him up there with Soroviak fighting it out for the win once again, as we saw in race 1. He is really, really flying out there as well. And I think he is, as I said earlier, just trying to prove to himself that he knows he could have done well in this race. He knows he's got the confidence of moving into race 3. And I think we've just seen a pass there as well. I think Huntingford may have just got past, Sparks has just got past Huntingford again, I believe. So, so Sparks now retaking second place from Charlie Huntingford, maybe, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but it is still Soroviak, as you said, leading this race with 2 laps to go, and he has just been phenomenal out there, hasn't he? It has absolutely been a race to remember for Philip Soroviak, and you were losing your voice at the last one. Well, surely Gareth, you're going to lose it again in a moment's time, because he has been absolutely dominant today.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed watching Philip Soroviak's progress over the last 18 months or so throughout the 50s into the 70s. He's really switched on, as you can see there. Camsell just getting out the way of some of the lap traffic coming through. Charlie Huntingford trying to make another move back on Ethan Sparks. Of course, Ethan, that is big for him to get back up into second, because he needs as many championship points as possible, with Mason Foster down in 11th position, but now starting to try and unlap himself. Mason flying around the circuit, lapping in the 57s consistently, faster than everyone else on circuit. Mason is now trying to reel in race leader Philip Soroviak, get himself only 1 lap down instead of 2 laps down. But well, here's that battle that's going on behind. That's 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Ethan Sparks, Charlie Huntingford and Clayton Edwards. Clayton going down the inside of Charlie Huntingford into the final quarter. What a brave move, and he's pulled it off. Fantastic move there from the 146. He needs to make that one, and he's got it done, so he's now up onto the podium. Charlie's trying to come back at him on the exit. In fact, he's going to go to the inside. Oh, that's the 146 that's pulled off to the side, but Philip Soroviak still leading away on the final lap of this one. He's got 13.3 seconds advantage, and what can you say? I said yesterday, is the win going to unleash Philip Soroviak? And it looks as though, if all things go to plan, that will be the case. The monkey came off the back, and there is Clayton Edwards once again. It's all happened on the final lap, but we've got Philip Soroviak to the final corner for the final time. 1 win was sweet. This will taste even sweeter. It's 2 for 2 in the 70s for Philip Soroviak on the 75.
What a performance we have just witnessed here today at Rowrah. Philip Soroviak 13 seconds back to Ethan Sparks, who's done very, very well to come home in P2. He'll cross the line in a short moment's time. You can see they're still battling behind. There is Sparks. Huntingford tried to give it a go around the last corner, but could not do anything. It was very, very close between Huntingford and Harris behind as well. Actually, it was only 2.5 tenths of a second between 3rd and 4th, so a big battle for second going on there. But Philip Soroviak, take a bow. What a performance we have just seen there. And as you said, 2 for 2, and that will be very, very nice. I'm sure you can see him there celebrating, and he has absolutely every right to do so. That is one of the best performances we have seen all weekend. It is Philip Soroviak taking his 2nd win of the season and the weekend here at Rowrah. Ethan Sparks fighting up to 2nd place, then Charlie Huntingford rounding out the podium, just keeping Ronnie Harris at bay in P4. Then Clayton Edwards, unfortunately, stopping at the end there, but still classified as P5 apparently on our time screens. Then Felix Stalling in P6. Ben Jolliffe was 7th. Greg Marshall was 8th. Cameron Saul 9th. Ollie Horner, after a fall, managed to get it back to 10th. Mason Foster, after a big fall at the start of the race, was flying at the end and managed to get it back to 11th and unlapped himself in the process. Harry Payne, I think, did not quite make the end, but was still classified in 12th. And then Paddy Wong, unfortunately, retired. But what a race we've just seen in the Mini GP 70s. What a performance we've just seen from Philip Soroviak. That was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, fantastic result there. And just a quick mention there, 6th position, Felix Dorling. Fantastic result there for Felix on the 87. I believe his best result on a Metric Kit bike in quite some time. He comes home, the rider from Falmouth. It's a long way to come, Falmouth, all the way up here. God, well, at least you get home with a handful of championship points to your name. But, well, yeah, fantastic from the 87. Ben Jolliffe, after that fall, recovers to 7th position ahead of Greg Marshall. Greg in 8th position. Solid points there. Cam Saul equally in 9th with those points, but won't be too happy after going down at Ardale's hairpin. One of many, but, well, What a race. Once again, that's 2 from 2 that we've really enjoyed from the 70s. But welcome, everyone. Wherever you're watching around the world, you are listening to the sultry tones of Gareth Hall and Ross McIntyre in the commentary box for the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship 5th round of the season. We are here at the Lake District. It is Rowrah, the Cumbria Kart Circuit, and we are here enjoying the second races of the weekend. And, we've got the race 3s to come after the lunch break. And, here comes the sidecars. And, I'm looking at my taxi that's going to be taking me around at the lunch break. And hopefully it will be the 76 of Adrian Ems, and perhaps even another run on the 127 of John Hosker. I'm a man in demand, you see. They were saying, well, I'll take you. And even the Green Streets came up to me and said, what we need to do is we need to get you on a sidecar at Ella Park, and we'll really test you, and you can test out all the bikes and see what the differences are. I was like, well, that's a great idea. So I'm all ears. You know more than anyone, as we've got family members that have done sidecars before, just how crazy they are.
Absolutely insane. Of course, my granddad used to race sidecars, still holds the lap record at Mallory Park. And on that note, I made a mistake yesterday. When I said my parents met at Wilton Mill, I lied. It was Kim Bolton. I checked with my nan. I'm very sorry, Nan. I know you're watching. Hi, Nan. Hi, Granddad. But yeah, these things are absolutely insane. The guys on the sidecar are the most mental people in the world of motorsport, and you're going to get to experience that multiple times over at lunch as we head away on the green flag lap. It will be, who else? Mick Williams from pole position. He's had a few transponder issues over the weekend. Did an extra lap yesterday than everybody else as a result from the confusion, but he will be going from pole position. He did take that win. It is Mick Lay who starts alongside, and then Mark Parker will take P3, Jason Greenstreet taking P4, Adrian Ems will be P5, John Hosker rounding out the third row, and then Dave Glover rounding out the grid in P7. And we see there's a spin there already in the sidecar, so it's not just, and that's Greenstreet that's gone round, so it's not just the two wheels that are having issues out there with the weather conditions. It is tricky on the sidecars as well. And as I've been saying, these things are absolutely insane out there. It's obviously they've got one more wheel than everything else this weekend, and they've got also one more person on the bike. And it's absolutely mental to watch. It is an insane spectacle to witness. It's an insane sport to take part in, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun here as we head into race 2 at Rowrah. As I said, Mick Williams heading from pole position. Hopefully his transponder carries on working through race 2. As I said, he did an extra lap in race 1 because everyone thought he was actually last because his transponder broke.
Yeah, but he wasn't classified. He was classified. He stopped at the line, pointed over to the race director and said, look, the transponder's here, it is working. And so he was the race winner, and added to another list of race wins that he's picked up here. And I was even told at the Clay Pigeon that he ends up bringing back the trophies and the medals that he takes home because he's got so many at the home. He's completely run out of space. So he comes, look, here you go. I'm sure you'll end up giving them back to me, but here we'll recycle them for now. So
it cares for the environment.
Exactly. Yeah, they are always. It looks as though we've got a missing pair on second.
That's Mick Lee in the 44 hasn't pulled up to the grid. Not sure what's happening there. Clearly a bit of conversation going on between the marshal and the race director, but Mick Lee clearly absent there in P2.
There we go. Well, it's going to be lights on and lights off for the sidecars, and it's a good start from your championship leader. It's a great start from the 76 of Adrian Ems into second position. A rocket off the line on that orange machine as he goes into second ahead of the Green Streets, and that's the 90 chasing the 76. John Hosker on the 127 with Mark Parker, and then that's Dave and Oda Glover on the 3 behind. And it's the sidecars. It's usually a family affair. Mark Parker goes very wide, as you can see, trying to go down the inside of John Hosker, the 127, into the hairpin. Does anyone get it wrong on lap 1? We've seen so many people already. That's a big slide there from the 127, and a little bit of a panel bash there from Mark Parker for good notice, just to say, well, you stay on the outside, I'll take the inside, and I'll take the position.
Exactly. These sidecars struggling for grip just as much as the two-wheel bikes. Having an extra wheel doesn't mean you have extra grip. They are really struggling out there. Of course, the person on the sidecar has to do all the work, trying to get the bike around the corner, getting the head as close to the ground as possible, leaning over, and it's crucial that they do their job in the wet. as perfectly as they can, because obviously when it rains there's no grip out there, so they need to make sure they're in the right positions at the perfect time in order to make the bike work. Mick Williams there crossing the line in the lead. Who else would it be? He set the fastest lap as well, a 107.650 at the end of lap 1. The only one who's anywhere near him, Adrian Ems in the 76, who's doing a phenomenal job out there, taking a 108.154. He's your ride later, I believe. There is the 44 of Mick Lee, who's pulled back into the pits and are clearly having a few engine issues, won't be making it out for race 2, it seems. Hopefully they can get that fixed and head back out this afternoon for race 3. But as always, Mick Williams leading the way. Adrian Ems, though, what a start he's had up into P2.
Yeah, and you can see the 127 just out of shot there, just as it came into it. Looks as though they kicked the back end and turned the bike around, so they might have got it restarted. They were slow out of the hairpin. I just caught them pointing 90 degrees to the wrong direction, so you can see they've lost a little bit more time. Very tricky conditions. It's all about transfer of body weight here on sidecars, something I'm sure I'll find out about very, very shortly. Maybe not the most ideal, but looking forward to it nonetheless. But well, the 26 still leading. What is transponder is working, and Mick Williams is comfortably leading now, 2.6 seconds up the road from Adrian Ems. Adrian Ems is probably the best run they've had so far this season, keeping up with, we're used to seeing for the uninitiated and for yourself, Ross, that Mick Williams usually is about 5 or 6 seconds a lap faster than anyone else. So the fact that we're now halfway into this race, and Mick Williams is now only 2.6 seconds ahead of Ems, it's a superb run there from Adrian and Claire, who are doing a stellar job on the 76.
Yeah, they are. It was a great launch off of the start-finish line. Really, really well timed. Just jumped away straight into second, and they managed to hold it very well, actually. Managed to keep decent pace with Mick Williams ahead. Adrian's doing a stellar job, as you said, up in P2. The number 76, that bright orange bike, is just holding firm in P2 at the moment. They've got a 4-second gap behind them, 2.5-second gap to Mick Williams in front. So they're actually closer to Mick Williams than everyone else. They're almost following him, actually, which is impressive, because as you said, normally Mick Williams is about half a lap ahead of everyone by the end of lap 3. So he's Adrian doing a very solid job on the number 76 machine there. Maybe Mick as well, just struggling a bit with confidence issues in the wet. We saw on the green flag lap there was a spinner. We again on lap 1 as well, everyone was sliding through the Arsdale hairpin. So maybe, just not pushing as hard as you usually would, just taking a bit easy, trying to bring the bike home. He's still got 3 seconds to the good though behind him with Adrian Ems, but Ems again just gaining on the riders behind. Greenstreet 9 seconds back in P3. So Adrian Ems, this is a phenomenal performance from the Ems pairing there.
Oh, kicking the tail out is Adrian Ems there, taking a lot of speed into the hairpin, and Claire hanging on for the ride as she goes around, and well, she's doing an instrumental job as passenger, and it is all about, as we say every time, keeping all 3 wheels planted. That's where you get the grip from. The 2 rear wheels at the back, they're doing the majority of the work. Front one pretty much just turns, and well, Aid going into the final corner, sliding in and sliding out, and doing a great job so far. 3.1 seconds they've dropped now behind Mick Williams and Michael Elms. 3 laps left to go. Mick Williams and Michael Elms are champions, well, multi-time champions, multi-time race winners, yet to be beaten so far this season. However, anything can happen in racing, and it usually does, I believe is the term coined. But well, Adrian Ems, what can he do from second? Jason Greenstreet will be happy with a podium in third. The Greenstreets, who have only really been a pairing together for not too long, so it's great to see Leo on the bike that has been working hard and doing a great job. Asked me yesterday, did you get nervous? No, it's no bother. You just get used to it. I was like, well, okay.
As I said, the people on the sidecar are insane and probably need to go to the doctor to get checked out. Adrian Ems, though, is in a very, very good position. If Mick Williams makes a mistake, if he goes off, if he has a problem with the bike, he's in a very, very nice position. Even if he just has a bit of a half spin and loses a whole chunk of time, Adrian Ems is suddenly in the position to fight for a win here, and it looks like Mick Lee has finally come out on track for the last few laps. 2 laps to go here in race 2 in Rowrah. So it looks like Mick Lee finally sorting the issue with their bike, getting back out in the bright yellow number 44 machine. So you should see them going around for a couple laps, just maybe checking the weather conditions for later. Of course, they were able to get out for the warm-up earlier, but as you said earlier, Gareth, the conditions are so different already. The rain has been coming down. It's a lot wetter than it was. It isn't raining actually currently at the moment, I don't believe, if I just glance out the window, but it is still very, very wet out there. So just trying to get used to the conditions maybe, but it's good to see Mick Lee getting those issues sorted, getting out on track. But it is still Mick Williams who who else would it be leading this race?
Yeah, Mick and Danny Lee, luckily getting some track time, which is good to see, just getting that bike restarted, but it is there's Green Street on the 90. They are channeling their way towards a podium finish. We're on their final lap, and the 26 is leading away. And well, it's been pretty comfortable once again. They've had to work a little bit harder than what we're used to seeing from Adrian Ems. But well, here we go on the Red Bull 26 livery, coming into the final few corners. Just 3 more corners to navigate once again for the 26 of Mick Williams and Michael Elms in towards the final corner. They can cruise this one. 4.3 seconds they've got. They can even just give us a little bit of a tail flick into the final corner. I'm sure they won't. They're all professional. As they can have a quick glance behind, but it is checkered flag for the 26 once again. And there we go on the final lap. Adrian Ems closing in, really putting the pressure in, taking 3 seconds out of Mick Williams. 2.2 seconds across the line. Fantastic result there for Ade, and I'm sure he'll be very, very happy indeed. And the Green Streets, they round out the podium in the sidecars for this one. And as you can see there, the 26 just having a look behind him. Well, we had to work a little bit harder than usual for that one. As I'm sure Ade will be pretty happy. He adds another podium to his name that he's picked up a couple of so far this season, and throughout the end of last season as well. So great to see these guys. But once again, sidecar action, very, very tricky, very, very physical, and incredibly fun to watch.
Indeed, what a performance from Adrian Ems as well, up into P2 in the 76 with a great start, and they were tailing that 26 all long. Kudos to them. They've really put on a show here today. But of course, it is Mick Williams taking the win here in the sidecars race 2. Adrian Ems lining up alongside them, P2 in the 76. As I said, what a performance they've shown. Jason Greenstreet in the number 90 rounds out the podium. Mark Parker in P4, John Hosker P5, Dave Glover in P6, and Mick Lay was finally able to get out on track right at the end for the last lap and a half. So he will be classified in P7, but a fair few laps down. And frankly, that was more of a test session for race 3 than anything. But again, what a performance from Adrian Ems. What a start. And as you can see there, got actually quite a big crowd going here at FAB down on the hill, enduring the lovely wet weather. I don't know if they can hear us. If you can hear us over the tannoy, give us a wave. I'll see if they... No, they can't hear us. Oh, that's a disappointment. I gave it a shot. But again, Adrian, what a performance there from the 76 machine.
Yeah, and that's some of the Green Street family over there as well. They're probably... She was telling me yesterday, she was like, oh, I'm so nervous when I go out on circuit. I'm not surprised, to be fair. I'm sure my mother would be... well, she's beside herself, even with the thought of me going on a sidecar. So, yeah, looking forward to this one. It's but that is the end of the sidecars. And, however, we do have one more race as they head back into the pit lane, and it will be the Extreme 200s and Moto team. So, 2 classes in the same race, like we saw back at Clay Pigeon. The Extreme 200s, however, they've been enjoying themselves recently. They've had a couple of decent results a couple of decent races throughout a number of the guys riding. The guys like Reece Peacock, he had a fantastic run yesterday. Dylan Mellor had a great run equally. But it's Jason Pugh, who I spoke to on Saturday morning. He said he likes Rowrah. He's looking forward to it. He wants 3 from 3 in Moto team. He took 2 from 3 last year. He wants the hat-trick this time around. And, well... what can he do? He'll be lining up on the grid in pole position for the Moto team class. It will be Josh Birkin, however, riding on Jamie King's Moto team bike. Of course, in Moto team, it's a team sport. It's the bike that scores the points, not the rider. So, part of Jamie's YouTube channel, he did a competition, and the winner would have a ride on his, or get the weekend on his Moto team bike, and it was won by Josh Birkin. So Josh moves up from the minis onto Moto team, and yesterday, second in class, he was very happy. Yeah,
he's doing a really, really good job. Obviously, it's a bit of a jump to go from the mini motos to the Moto team. Obviously, a big gear bike. It's a very, very different riding style. It's required very different bike in general. As you can see there, one of the Extreme 200s popping a bit of a wheelie there. But yeah, he did really well yesterday, to be fair to him. Obviously, there's a lot of talent out there on the FAB grid, and Josh proving to us that he can do it no matter what the class is there. You can see him lining up there on the grid. Of course, we do have the Extreme 200s and the Moto teams combined. So we're just heading out now on the green flag lap. It is Bernie Hook who takes the pole position for the Extreme 200s. Reece Peacock lining up alongside him in P2, then Owen Miller in P3 with Nathan Riggy in P4, Dylan Mellor in P5, then Jason Pugh taking, I believe that is the pole in the Moto team, then Sean Whitaker is P7, Jamie King is P8, Ian Jackson is at P9, Harrison O'Keefe is P10, Ashley Thompson is P11, Mark Pollard is P12, Reece Todd Brown is P13, Philip Mappelbeck is P14, Iona Glover is 15, Philip Joyce is 16th, Charlie Ems is 17th, and Elliot Newson is 18th, and I actually believe we haven't been given the Moto team grid lineup unless they're all
part of the same one. There we go. That's a rookie. So that's the 29. That's Reece Peacock just gone down. So Reece Peacock, who was race winner yesterday, unfortunately going down. In fact, just rides through the middle of that oil slick that was left down by Mason Foster's bike. So maybe not the best for the tyres, but the 29 starting off with a bang. And well, he's been on the deck a couple of times this weekend, but a little bit of work to do for Reece, as you're flicking through the grid trying to work out where everyone is.
Yeah, well, there's no Josh Birkin on this one.
That's because he's riding on Jamie King's bike.
Oh, that makes sense. I've made an absolute rookie error. Yeah, I've just absolutely embarrassed myself there. I do apologise. Josh Birkin will be lining up.
Told you, Moto team is a category designed to confuse commentators. But here we go, onto the grid. Come the Moto team and the Extreme 200s, and it is always a great race. It's a little bit of a detritus just kicked away by one of the bikes. There we go, giving a clap there as yes, well done. We've noticed that you were down on the deck. Well, here we go. It's going to be Reece Peacock lining up from P2. No Bernie Hook and pole, so it will be Reece Peacock on 29 versus the 30 from third. Who gets a run? Jason Pugh getting a fantastic start already, filing into third position, but it is a good getaway there from Dylan Mellor on the 31. Reece Peacock down into second position.
Indeed, it is great start there from Dylan Mellor to take the lead, and again Jason Pugh as well on the Moto team bike. Very, very good start there, and as they head out of the first hairpin, looks like it will still be Dylan Mellor leading into the Arsdale hairpin. We saw someone tumble down here on the green flag lap. Let's hope nobody goes down. Oh, very tight there between the 7 and the 30, I believe that was, as they head through Arsdale, and it's very, very slippy. So that was a brave move on lap 1, but they all get through clean so far. It is Jason Pugh that we see leading the way for the Moto team class, but Dylan Mellor streaking away at the front with Reece Peacock in tow in the Extreme 200s.
Yeah, Reece probably looking to consolidate a decent points position in this one. He knows, so he went down on the green flag lap. He doesn't want to do the same. Here comes the battle for Moto team. Josh Birkin trying to go around the outside of Jason Pugh. Gets a little bit sat up as he tried to look to tuck inside, but Jason makes sure he shuts the door. But this time around you can see Jason Pugh is leading from Josh Birkin. Ian Jackson back in third position in that class, but leading away in the Extremes is Dylan Mellor, Reece Peacock and Sean Whittaker.
Indeed, Dylan Mellor setting the fastest lap of the race that time by, of course. He got away from very high up on the grid and then led the way, so of course he will, but it's a 102.335, and we've as we've been seeing, they've been tumbling by about 2 seconds. That's what you lose on the first lap, so expect a lap to around about 59 seconds, 1 minute towards the end of the race. There we can see the Moto team battle still going very... Oh, that is a big off there. That is a big off for, I'm not quite sure who that is, and that's Mellor that's gone round. So that's Mellor that's gone down from the lead of the race.
Yeah, race leader Dylan Mellor going down from the lead. That's going to promote Reece Peacock up in. You can see already with a gap behind. That was a superb chance for Josh Birkin to try and go around the outside of Jason Pugh. Jason just getting the drive out the corner, but you can see Josh getting much more confident on the bike. Of course, this is the first time he's been on a geared bike racing. He's usually on the senior mini motos, of course, no gears on them, so it's a new experience for him. And Jamie King was on commentary with us yesterday. He was very happy indeed with how Josh was riding and the fact that he picked him up some solid points in the championship, and he's now really starting to put the pressure on Jason Pugh. However, pressure is now off for Reece Peacock. He's got a 5-second advantage with Dylan Mellor going down on that previous lap. So easy to do. We've seen riders go down from podium positions all throughout today, throughout all categories, but well, there you go, leg out, just giving himself a little bit of extra balance going in towards the back end of the circuit. You can see some mud has been kicked up there from the crash from Mellor earlier on in this one, but it's behind still the 12 for Sean Whittaker. So Sean having a decent run. He's looking for a best result on the season, second position so far. And then we've got Dylan Mellor, who's dropped all the way down to 6th on circuit, but 3rd in class. Of course, this is a split category race. We've got the Extreme 200s and the Moto team category out there. So Moto team versus Jason Pugh. Then you've got Jamie King, it will show up as, but it is actually Josh Birkin that's racing. And there we go, on screen you can see Jason and Josh right close to each other. In fact, they've got Ian Jackson with them as well. So that's the top 3 in Moto team with a recovering Dylan Mellor. So Dylan should find his way back past Josh. His bike is a little... out goes Birkin. So Birkin going down. He just lost the speed. He got out of the throttle, seeing that Dylan Mellor was coming past, but he's going to have to try and get that bike restarted. That's a real shame there for Josh Birkin, who was running superbly. As you can see, Jason Pugh takes a look behind, can see that there's no Birkin behind, but he sees Dylan Mellor go back past.
Indeed, big shame there for Josh Birkin, who was running so well yesterday, so well early on in this race, but I actually thought there might have been a bit of contact, but my eyes may have been deceiving me. Dylan Mellor just forcing his way through and obviously just throwing off Birkin a little bit. Obviously, as you said, Gareth, early, he's won the competition from Jamie King to be on the Moto team bike for this weekend at Rowrah. The Moto team, obviously, it's about the bike, not the rider, so it turns up as Jamie King on the screen, but it is actually Josh Birkin who is on that bike today. Big shame, though, for Birkin there, who's been running very, very strong on the geared bikes. It is still Reece Peacock that leads this race, though. His last lap was a second quicker than Sean Whittaker behind him. A 101.349. Whittaker set a 102.492. So Whittaker's struggling out there. Mellor, though, already back up to third place, also in the 101. So he'll be catching up to Whittaker very, very quickly, I'm sure. Oh, that's a big accident. That's Mellor again. That is Mellor off again, and that is a big off. That is a big off. And that is a big off. Looks like the bike is still running, but that's a surprise to me because that bike took a big tumble, and that was a big off coming through the Arsdale hairpin. He's managed to get going, but he's clearly disappointed with himself, and maybe having some problems. Just it might be a bit broken, struggling to get going again by the looks of things. But that was a big crash, so I'm not surprised if he's having bike problems there.
Yeah, shame there for Dylan Mellor. Second position yesterday. This time around, completely different conditions. It was completely dry yesterday. This time around, very greasy there out on circuits, and you can see Dylan taking it very easy on this lap. We'll see if he sticks with it, or does he roll back into pit lane. It looks as though he's going to try and stick with it, and of course picking up points in the championship, but well, he won't be happy at all. A couple of bumps, a couple of bruises, and perhaps even looking at the bike, might need to get a sledgehammer out afterwards and bang some pieces back into shape. But back in Moto team, Jason Pugh now leading from Ian Jackson. Josh Birkin is back in third in class, or Jamie King on screen, but it is Josh Birkin riding the bike, so he's in sixth on circuit but still third, so he's still on the podium back in Moto team, ahead of Phil Mapplebeck. So Phil, who is in fourth place in class. Then you've got Moto team stock, so even within Moto team you've got two categories. You've got the stock and you've got the open class as well, so there's multiple championships go on throughout this race, and leading the stock class is Reece Todd Brown. Phil Joyce is in second position in that one as well. So there is a battle going on around about 3 or 4 different places down throughout this field. Reece Peacock, however, leading away 9.4 seconds across the line to Sean Whittaker.
Indeed it is. Peacock just, now he's had that pressure taking off from a charging Mellor, whose laptop we'll see in just a short moment, and I'm convinced it's going to be a bit slower than normal, because I'd be surprised if that bike hasn't got some heavy damage after that crash. Peacock has now got a big weight taken off his shoulder. He's got 10 seconds back to Whittaker roughly. Whittaker is still running roughly the same laps. When you're running the same laps, you're not gaining anywhere, are you? And yet Mellor's lap time was about a second off of Reece Peacock, so his bike clearly not too happy anymore. But Peacock still leading this race. Oh, and that is another off. That's Birkin off this time on the 76 of the bike that is a title of the Jamie King. But Birkin, that's the second down of this race. This time he's gone down on his own out of the second turn, and struggling to get it going again, I think. So hopefully he's able to get that going again. Just more riders struggling with the conditions out there, and it's just seemingly gone on worse and worse as the day's gone on. More and more riders in each of the classes going down. It's not just for the kids, for the the guys who have just started. It's for the experienced guys here over into the Extreme 200 and Moto team as well. Yeah, very easy to get it wrong out there, and unfortunately for Josh, he has done it. Oh, you can see the back end snaking there. We'll see if that was has he lost a foot peg there? We'll find out, because it looks as though he was struggling to get the foot back up, but he is back up and underway. 4 laps left to go in this one. It's Reece Peacock from Sean Whittaker. Jason Pugh third on the road and first in class for Moto team, because it's Reece Peacock and Sean Whittaker in the Extreme 200s. Dylan Mellor is fifth on circuit and third in class for the Extreme 200s. Third in class is still, I'd say until they come around, it should maybe be Reece Todd Brown. We'll find out when they come around to circulate this. We'll find out if Josh Birkin on Jamie King's bike has dropped down behind the 46. So around the final corner will come Jamie King. There we go. There comes Reece Todd Brown. So yeah, Reece Todd Brown now up into P3 on the road for the Moto team class. So good run there from the Moto team stock racer Reece Todd Brown. indeed, but King is right, but not King. Birkin apart. I'm still doing it. Birkin is right behind him, and Birkin's going for the move up the inside, and he's taking back P3. So just as we say that, Birkin's straight back up, but he's had 2 tumbles already. The bike might be in a bit of a state, so possibly he might be finding himself on the floor again in the future. Of course, only 3 laps to go here, but anything can happen at Fab, and if your bike's got damage, it does obviously become very, very difficult to ride. And there we can see just heading around now, so hopefully Birkin can continue around towards the end of the race and is able to make the end. It seems like the bike is all okay. Dylan Miller as well, seems like he's still able to go around, but he is massively off the pace, running in the 103s now. Last lap Reece Peacock was in the 104s, so struggling out there a bit it seems, but from what Miller was once running at the start of this race after a big accident, the bike seems to just not be in the same state as it was at the beginning of this race. Race 2, of course, here at round 5 of the FAB-Racing Championship here at Rowrah, the Cumbria Kart Club up in the Lake District, which is probably why it's raining, because it's the Lake District, and Birkin off again, and this time it looks like it might have been the bike that's given up, because it seems like it's upright, it's pulled off to the side, and that might be Birkin's race 2 over here, which would be big shame, because as we've been saying, he has been so strong over race 1, so strong over practice quality on his first time on a geared bike as well. That is a big shame for Josh Birkin, and yep, he is just dropping down the order now. That I think will be it for the man who won his way onto that bike, but hopefully we'll be seeing him back for race 3. It would be a shame if we didn't, because he's done a stellar job this weekend. It is still Reece Peacock that leads this race, and there is Jason Pugh, the leader of the Moto team category, who will be coming around with about 1 lap to go now. There we go, Reece Peacock with the fastest lap of the race as well on his penultimate lap, a 1:01.79 as we head onto the final lap of the race. And there is still your Moto team leader, Jason Pugh, who's done a spectacular job, it must be said. Ian Jackson is behind him by about 3.5 seconds, so he's doing everything he needs to do to take the win in Moto team. There, however, is the man who has been dominant all race long, Reece Peacock. Another one of those fine performances that we've seen this morning from the rider out front. Harks me back to the 70s race. Philip Soroviak just out the front, doing exactly everything right. Just not a foot wrong. There he goes to lap Birkin, who has been able to get going again, but has dropped out of the podium positions, unfortunately dropped down to 5th or 6th in the Moto team category. But it doesn't matter, because Peacock is coming into the final section now, and it's been another phenomenal performance where not a foot has been put wrong. Reece Peacock rounds the final corner to take the win in the Extreme 200 class, and the final win of the morning, race 2 at Rowrah. What a performance from Reece Peacock. Sean Whitaker will come round shortly. There he is to take home P2 in Extreme 200, and there is Jason Pugh, the leader in Moto team, another rider who has not put anything wrong, and of course he's got Jackson not far behind him as well, so he is the pressure on him, but it will be Jason Pugh taking the win in Moto team as well. That's a great performance there for Jason Pugh, and it will be Jackson coming home in 4th. There is your race winner, Reece Peacock, in the Extreme 200, and he set the fastest lap of the race again on the final lap, the only rider into the 59-second mark, 59.977. What a performance from Reece Peacock, who takes a very dominant win here. The rider from Littleport, who's really been the class of this weekend so far. What a performance we've seen there. It is Reece Peacock that takes the win in the Extreme 200 class. Sean Whitaker comes home in P2. It's Jason Pugh taking the win in Moto team. Ian Jackson coming home 2nd. And then Dylan Miller is in P3 after a great comeback ride. P3 for Dylan Miller in Extreme 200. Then it's Reece Todd Brown in P3 for Moto team, and he also takes the Moto team stock victory. Philip Joyce is 2nd in Moto team stock, and then it's Phil Mappelbeck in Moto team, and then it's Josh Birkin on Jamie King's bike coming home in P9 overall. Then Iona Glover and Elliot Newton are 10th and 11th, and then we lost Mark Pollitt from Moto team and Harrison O'Keefe in the Extreme 200 as they wind their way back into the pits. What a race 2 we have seen here at Rowrah. And that wraps up our morning's running as well. The final race of the morning. Obviously, we've still got all of the race 3s from all of the classes to come this afternoon. Of course, there are 3 races across the weekend here at round 5 of the FAB-Racing Championship here at the Cumbria Kart Club at Rowrah. I'm Ross McIntyre. Ross Rowrah? I was thinking in terms of kart circuits. And I'm Ross McIntyre. I've been joined by Gareth Hall, who's currently desperately trying to fit a set of leathers on to have a go out on a sidecar over the lunch break. Thank you for joining us here here for the morning's action. And make sure you stay tuned. We'll be back in just a short while for all of the afternoon's actions here, all of the race threes. And if the morning was anything to go off, it's sure to be exciting. So make sure you stay tuned and we'll see you then.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Hello and welcome to the 5th round of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. We are here up in the Lake District. It is Rowrah. My name is Gareth Hall. I'm being joined this weekend by Ross McIntyre making his commentary debut for what is set to be an absolutely scintillating round's action. Ross, you've had to look at the circuit for the last day or so. What are you thinking? You must be enjoying it.
Oh, it's been brilliant so far. Obviously, as you said, my first time here with FAB-Racing. The circuit couldn't pick a better place. Rowrah is such a fantastic track, you know. Coming through that first section is so much fun. Then through the tight and twisty middle sector, back on the fast bit for the back end. And as well, windy, not so bad today, but it has cooled off. That being said, it is only about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, but it will get hotter throughout the day. And again, the rain coming down tomorrow as well, from what we reckon. So it's really going to be all at sea for the riders, frankly.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. And we are set for such a stacked weekend of action. And we're just making our way through the likes of the paddock, and I'm just coming up to some of the riders as well. Here we go. Here's my co-commentator from Clay. I've got Luke Fitchett here. Luke, you must be feeling a bit better being back in the leathers.
Yeah, it does feel good to be back riding because it has been quite a while since I've ridden. And it's just nice to be back on track with my friends.
How's the wrist feeling? Obviously a little bit banged up. Feeling all better now?
Yeah, it's feeling all better. It doesn't hurt to use the clutch now on the Metro kit, and it's all ready to go.
And you've had a bit of time out there on the bike. How's the track feeling? How's the bike feeling?
On the Metro kit, it's feeling really good. It's probably my best track of the year, and on the Mini, we're just getting there, slowly building up my pace. So, yeah.
Well, looking forward to it. You were fantastic in the commentary box. We're looking forward to seeing you back out on circuit. That is Luke Fitchett. Oh, there's Marco Holt that's down here as well. Marco, how are we doing this morning? You had a pretty good run out, Clay Pigeon. You must have been pretty happy with that one.
Yeah.
Give us more than that. Come on, you must have been pretty happy. You managed to get one over on Clayton. And equally, we come back since Red Lodge. You had a really good run at Red Lodge, Clay Pigeon. So what are we thinking here at Rowrah?
For me, all we want to do really is just stick with him and just kind of find the way through, really.
Track conditions out there at the moment. It's a little bit blustery, but it's not too bad. Hoping to keep dry throughout the rest of the weekend?
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to it. He'll be out there on the Metro kit bikes a little bit later on, as we've got plenty of these riders in the MKGP 50s just chilling out and sitting down as we make our way through this paddock. And Ross, well, it's a weekend where we're going to see the likes of the mini bikes and up to, well, the adult selections. Of course, we've got the senior mini motos, we've got the LC40 Elites, the AC40 Pros, and the rookies, of course, 6 years old. And, well, what have we got? We've got a number of riders that are out there on circuit as they're just taking a glance over the circuit. And, well, we have also had a stunning run this season for the 146 of Clayton Edmonds. And Clayton just taking a sit down here. Clayton, well, leading the championship. You've had a pretty good run so far this season. Coming into Rowrah, how are you feeling?
Good. Very good.
How's the bike feeling? You had a couple of issues back at Red Lodge. I was told your fairings you were keeping between your knees, so you must be hoping for a better run this time out.
Yeah, yesterday wasn't the best. Today I've got back into it. I'm feeling good.
Marco Holt's been looking pretty racy. He's been catching in the last few races, so what have you got to do to keep him behind?
I've got to push on and try my best.
Well, good luck. Hope you have a good run this weekend. So that is Clayton Edmonds, the 146. He'll be out in the MKGP 50s and the 70s. Now, Ross, the 70s, I've been giving you a little tips throughout the start of this weekend. The fact that it is the premier class here at FAB-Racing as Ronnie Harris on the 66 makes his way out onto the circuit. You must be looking forward to this. This is the final step before these young riders make their way up to the likes of the British Talent Cup.
Oh, I certainly am. Again, I was here yesterday. The practice sessions on the Friday, just watching them go around, and obviously it was windy, so a lot of people are a little bit off the pace, just trying to find their footing. But throughout the day, it was the top class by a long way. these young riders. There were a few riders that immediately caught my eye. You know, a couple special talents out there that were just straight away. Just the name escaped for the time being, but it's really obvious out there who's enjoying the circuit, who's enjoying the bike this weekend. And again, obviously with the rain tomorrow, that might change. But looking forward to it. There is definitely going to be a few people out there that might be.
As we've got the MKGP 70s making their way out for their practice session this morning, look out for the likes of Mason Foster, look out for the likes of Ethan Sparks and Philip Sorowiak. Ben Jolliffe trying to get himself involved in towards the front of that one, as we've got Archie Gibbs over at the side of the circuit, and we'll just go over and have a quick word. Archie, we'll have a quick word with you. Had an issue of the bike out there in the last session. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, it was good. I liked how it felt. I had a problem with it. Low on fuel, and I had to stop near the first corner. Yeah, it's going all right.
And of course, last time out we saw you on the Metro Kit for the first time. How did you feel? It was, you've had a couple of rounds on it and, a couple of podiums. You must be pretty happy making that move up to the geared bike.
Since wet launch, I've been really comfortable with it. I'm very fast on it. I'm very happy how it's doing and how I'm performing it. But for the last 2 rounds, I've been qualifying 4th, and today I would like to go 3rd today.
Well, I'm sure you will, because you've been absolutely mega out there with what we've seen so far. So good luck this weekend. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do on both the minis and on the Metro Kit. So that is Archie Gibbs, who has been absolutely superb this season. He was in a fantastic battle in the early stages of the season with Archie O'Brien. Archie O'Brien, who we have been talking to for the majority of the season, leading the way in the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites on those mini motos, which 40cc engines, the AC's the air-cooled, the LC's the liquid-cooled, the LC's going a little bit faster, and they're going to be pretty mega when they hit the circuit.
Yeah, they certainly are. Again, just saying Archie O'Brien, he is one of the top talents of this season. It's clear to see, he's basically dominated everything he's even touched. And we're expecting the same coming to Rowrah again. Yesterday in practice, he was one of the riders that was super, super quick, super, super confident. There was a few riders that when they got out on the circuit, obviously it was very windy, the conditions were hard. Everyone was trying to kind of gauge where the bike was at. He was out there and was straight on it, immediately was on the pace, riding on Herbs. It was awesome to see, and he was one of the few that really caught my eye. And again, we're expecting a lot from him coming into this weekend. Again, just continuing his dominant streak.
Yeah, they have been pretty good so far this season. And I've spoken to Archie on plenty of occasions, and he's told me that he's ready for this season. He wants to pick not only the one title on the AC40 Pros, but he also wants that LC40 Elite Championship. And they're going to have to work pretty hard to catch him up over the final few races of this season. Of course, we've got the
Well, here at Motorsport Radio, we've got a very special treat for you. There you can see the 127 Sidecar. On the right-hand side, you might be able to see a very scared-looking man for a late 32nd birthday present. We've given him a ride in a Sidecar. It's our main commentator, Gareth Hall, who's out there and not looking too happy, it must be said. And he's trying to lean out and... Actually, that's not bad, to be fair, through there. Obviously, last year, one of our commentators, Tristan, was given a ride in a Sidecar, and Gareth was constantly asking when he's going to get the ride. And now is his special day. Now is his special treat. And he's getting a bit of a spin as well. There you go. All the tricks and the spills here at Rowrah, and of course the 127 Sidecar here at FAB-Racing, which has been very kindly given a ride on. And Gareth is looking quite scared. He's trying his best. Obviously, he's not a Sidecar. He's not usually in the Sidecar. He's doing better than Tristan was last year, to be fair, who was sat still like a stone, it must be said. But he's actually getting himself out, which is not bad. It's, as you said, better than Tristan. But he's still doing his best. Obviously, it's going on a Sidecar for the first time. It's difficult. It's tricky. That is one of the most insane things. And apparently, it might have actually the engine might have just broken. And it looks like they've actually just encountered some problems. So Gareth, as he gives a little wave to the crowd, isn't actually gonna be able to finish off his lap here because the bike appears to be having problems. They're going to try and give it a bump start, But as they give a wave to the camera, and he's just giving a wave to the camera there. Hello, Gareth. He's trying his best. But yeah, he's going to have to run to the finish line. His half lap in the sidecar has been complete as they try and get it finished to the end. But yeah, what a shame for Gareth Hall there. He's been he's gifted a lap in the sidecar and he only gets half done. They're just checking the fuel of the oil because they might have run out actually. But yeah, that's a big shame. Very convenient for Gareth as well. He can save himself a fresh pair of trousers after this event. And there you go. Looks like his day in the sidecar is done. He's trying his best, and the camera's now taking us over. And there we go. He's giving it a bit of a jog in a set of leathers that are far too big for him, frankly, even at the lofty height of nearly 6'3", and he's just walking rather depressingly back to the pit lane. There's a slight look of relief on his face there as well, as he knows he doesn't have to go through that anymore. He's he was saying he was excited in the build up to it, but he was it was more nerves than excitement, I think. And apparently he by the sound, I think he might be able to get a run in another sidecar, maybe. We're not too sure. We'll just have to wait and see. As he, again, rather somberly, he puts on a little jog now as well up the pit lane. Jensen Button at Monaco 2009 style. I'm just having a glance out of my window, and I don't think I can see anybody ready with a... there might be another... apparently the green streets are there in Parc Fermé, and the Adrian M's the number 76 as well. So they all want to give Gareth a ride. So there you go. They were asking, do you want to hop on, mate? And he's gone, yeah, go on then. Not because he wants to, but because he's being forced to by television. But he's going to hop onto the number 76 machine of Adrian M's just in a short moment. Big shame that he's got half a lap under his belt now, so at least he now knows what he's doing. And to be fair, as we said, he was better than Tristan was last year, because Tristan was sat there like a statue. And if you've ever watched sidecar racing before, and obviously we've got 3 races of it, 1 still to go here at FAB-Racing, you'll know that sitting like a statue in a sidecar is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. So fair play to Gareth for getting a knee out, getting himself leaned over the side. It is a pretty daunting experience, and it's something that your every instinct is screaming at you not to do, because obviously when you're not in control of a bike it's pretty scary anyway, but then when you've got to literally lean out the side and put your head 10 centimetres off the ground in order to make the corner, it is absolutely petrifying, I am sure. And yeah, Gareth is now getting another run in by Adrian M's on the 76, who's just had a very, very nice race 2, came home in second here, and of course it being wet as well out there, it just means that Gareth is having an even worse time. I'm certainly enjoying myself up here in the commentary box. I know my producer Lester is as well. He's having a right giggle next to me, and all the cameramen here at Motorsport Radio certainly are as well. And there you go, giving a lean over. Good boy, Gareth. He's giving it his all, and he's getting back over to the left as well. It's a very tricky set. Oh, the inside wheel of the bike popping up there actually as well. That's not going to be a fun experience as they head into the first hairpin. It is still very, very wet out here today at Rowrah. It rained overnight and it's been lightly drizzling all day. So it's you can't quite see it on the camera, but it is not wet, not dry whatsoever. Oh, and that is very wide from Adrian M's there. Adrian is definitely going for it. So Gareth is getting a bit more of an experience out of this one, it would seem. On board that 76 machine, that bright orange top and the outside wheel popping up again. That is not a nice feeling, I can imagine, as Gareth heads through the back section now into the very, very fast downhill. And he's going to come in. It's very, very wet here today. Braking into the right, then the left. He squeezes through. Ems is probably struggling because he's not got his usual partner, Chloe, alongside him. And obviously she's very experienced in a sidecar, so she knows exactly what to do. Gareth holding on for dear life there as well as they head into the final corner to go around for another lap. That's 1.5 down, Gareth. And here we go. This will be let's say he's going to try and go for pole. Adrian M's Gareth Hall alongside him in the sidecar. Into turn 1 they go. Over the curbs, Gareth trying his very best. He's still not too confident about getting out sideways on the second turn, because there is a big wall on the inside, and it's quite clear he doesn't want to hit his face into that, because that would sting a bit. And again, the inside wheel lifting up. Come on, Gareth, you got to get over further than that if you want the bike to stay upright. And again, coming into the right-hander at Arsdale's now, and again, a big slide on the rear from the bike. Oh, and dips a wheel into the dirt on the outside as well. And Gareth isn't getting down either, so they're losing time on the straights. I don't think this is quite going to be pole position quality, but he's trying his best to get through. He's definitely not leaning over to the right far enough. He's trying his best to lean over to the left, but he's clearly a bit scared. But we're giving him the benefit of the doubt here as they head once again into the super quick downhill section. Get the bike right over to the right again to bring it back to the left. Oh, up onto two wheels. Come on, Gareth, you got to try harder than that. And I think they're going to go around for one more lap. Yes, they are. So they'll get their pole lap and their in lap. This should be the last lap for Gareth. Oh, big twitch as well coming out of the final corner. He's trying his very best. He's already leaning for turn one, so he's giving it his all. Then back up for turn two, and he's just sitting there. That's not what you do. Come on, Gareth, you've got to be better than that. And as they now head down this short middle section into the first hairpin, you can see a big old grin on his face. I'm not sure whether he's genuinely enjoying himself or he's smiling out of sheer fear. Well, he might need a change. Those leathers might need to go through the wash anyway after this one. I'll just say that much. And there you go, the rear wheel hopping into the Lonsdale hairpin where it's very wet anyway, and you want all the grip you can get. So have one wheel bouncing up and down in the air is not ideal for Adrian Ems there on his in lap. And of course, Adrian he's had a very, very good result in the last race, in race 2 here at Rowrah, coming home in second. Adrian and Chloe put in a fantastic performance, getting a great jump at the lights, and it looks like they've backed off, so this will be it. He gives a little shake of the head and a shake of the hand. He cannot quite believe what he's just been through. It's like a roller coaster ride, except you're not strapped in. And Gareth Hall, he's now thinks he's the coolest man in the world, and they will be coming in again. Another shake of the head. He's probably laughing himself to sleep tonight as he comes into the pit lanes. That was Gareth Hall, main commentator here at Motorsport Radio, getting a hands-on experience on a sidecar, and I don't think that's an experience he's going to forget anytime soon as they all start wetting themselves in the pit lane. First we had Tristan last year, who was a statue. Then we had Gareth, who actually gave it a bit of a go, to be fair. He checks to make sure he hasn't pooed himself, and then he has a bit of a chat. Obviously thanks to Adrian Ems. That was 3 laps or 3.5 laps of Rowrah with Gareth Hall on the sidecar, and I'm sure he's going to be talking about that all afternoon long.
Of Ella Park and Hundow in South Wales to come, so still a few more rounds to go, but well, can anyone catch up to the might that is O'Brien as we make our way through this huge paddock at Rowrah? And well, if you tuned in last time we were here at Rowrah, it was absolutely torrential with the rain coming down. I was soaked, we were all soaked, but this time around it looks as though we've just about got away with it, as we've got some of the riders are just sorting themselves out in the paddock, and that's Finley Polehill that's just over in the mini motos, as they're all just fixing their bikes up, and well, the minis just sorting themselves out, and here we go. Finley, we'll grab a quick word view whilst just walking around. You've had a pretty good Red Lodge, you had a pretty good Clay, you must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with Clay and Red Lodge. Red Lodge, when I liked Red Lodge more than Clay, just because I think I don't really like riding in the wet, I struggle a bit. But yeah, I quite like this track and it's alright.
And back at Clay Pigeon, you were involved in a bit of a collision down at T1 with a number of riders. So tell us more about it, because it seems as though you all just went down on a puddle.
Yeah, just went down on the puddle. Byron crashed, Archie O'Brien crashed, and I crashed. Even if I didn't crash, I would have bumped into them, and so I have nowhere to go.
Tell us, you've been on the bike a little bit so far. You've done qualifying, you've done practice. How's the bike feeling? How are you feeling?
The bike's feeling alright. It just doesn't get out the turns as well as it was getting yesterday. But yeah, we're going to fix that, and yeah.
And what's the goal for the rest of the weekend then? Surely more podiums, maybe even sneaking a win or two?
Get a win and maybe a few more seconds.
Well, definitely got the talent to do that. That's Finley Polehill. He'll be on the 199 later on this weekend, so tune in for that. The mini motos, always absolutely stunning in their action as I make my way through. And we've got Bernie Hook, who I'm going to catch whilst I'm on a loop. He's going to try and get away from me. Here we go, unfortunately. And I'm going to get Taylor. Do not worry about that. I want to get Taylor, but you're first because you were trying to get away from me. So, Mr. Bernie Hook himself on his bike. Tell us more about it. It's been a pretty good season so far. A couple of podiums, a couple of decent results. You've got the Birkins chasing you down for it, so how's it been?
Yeah, it's been good. We have a laugh, we enjoy it. We don't take it too seriously. It's been going good, yeah.
And senior mini motos, we've seen a bigger grid so far this season, so it must be good for you, as you say, kind of having some fun, having a laugh with the guys here. So what's it been like with a bigger grid in the seniors?
Yeah, it is good. It's good. We're helping all the new people. We really need more new people in. It's a hard thing when you're new, and we're all so happy to help. We help everybody. But yeah, it's nice looking back when you're at the front of the grid and you've got a big field of bike. Yeah, it makes you feel good. It's good.
And tell us a little bit more about the bike for those that are watching and think they might want to get involved.
So this is an Evolution bike made by Andy Whedon. It's a very good bike, very light. It's very good to work on, very easy for the mechanics to work on. Very good bike. IAME engine. You can use a BZM engine, all just the same really. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Get yourself involved in the Senior Mini Motos. You can find it all about on the FAB-Racing website. And to Bernie Hook, he's the one to beat. And the one to beat in the rookies is Oliver Hall. And I'll chat to Oliver, who I usually always enjoy having a conversation with. How are you doing, Ollie? Great to see you. You had a pretty good run at Clay. How was Clay for you?
Really good, really, because when I was at Clay, I liked the track and I seemed to win at it. So it was good and I like winning.
Well, we know that. You've told us in the past that you love to go home with your number one medals. And, well, here at Rowrah, you've been out on circuit. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. I'm feeling really bad for Zach because he's broken his collarbone, but hopefully it gets better. But, yeah.
Yeah, as you say, Zach Pinnock unfortunately going down yesterday with a collarbone break, so he'll be back hopefully towards the end of the season. He will be watching today. I've had a confirmation from his dad. He wants to come and watch us. But for you, we've been on circuit. Where's the places you're expecting to see some overtakes? Where are you expecting the action to be?
On the straights, in the corners, because sometimes on the corners, when somebody's wide, if they're tight to the corner, overtake them. But if they're not tight to the corner, undertake them. And if they were going to bang into you, they will turn for it. So that's the easiest spot.
Well, Oliver Hall, who will be doing his stuff out in the rookies, and it is time to. Actually, I want to grab Taylor Lawrence, and Taylor Lawrence, who's just doing some jumping jacks, trying to get ready. The man leading the Pit Bike 140 Championship, and Taylor. I just had a quick look as you were there. Are you enjoying yourself here at Rowrah?
Yeah, just taking it nice and steady in the warm-up, trying to get the feel for the bike, because Rowrah's quite a cold track usually, so getting the tyres up to temperature and seeing what we can do for qualifying one. Hopefully pole, but Reece Peacock, Jamie King are going to be on my tail again, so maybe, it could be a close fight. We'll see what happens.
And as you say, it's looking pretty close in this Pit 140. You had a slight issue back at Clay Pigeon race 2. What happened with the bike?
The bike's electronics just filled with water. We didn't, because we left our tyre choice so long, because it was damp, then it just chugged it down. We took 5 minutes to change our tyres, but then we didn't do the suspension and we didn't tape up the holes, so it flooded our bike, so we wouldn't have gone restarted.
And obviously the goal for this weekend will be 3 wins. But what do you think? Where's the challenge come from, Jamie? As you say, Reece perhaps, and anywhere from behind it. Obviously, dry today, maybe rain tomorrow, so it might mix it up a little bit.
I don't mind either conditions, to be honest. Clay Pigeon had a bit of unluckiness, but I do like the wet because I've got my Bambino for the wet now, my new bike. But my main challenges would be Jamie King, obviously. Sean Whittaker's showing pace this weekend, Reece Peacock, Andrew, all the pit bike boys really, all these pit bike boys there are showing pace, and I can't wait for Elapot when my boy Rossi Banham will be back, so we can have a little rematch again, little ding dong.
Absolutely, Rossi Banham, who of course will be up at the BSB paddock this weekend. That's Taylor Lawrence leading the way in the Pit Bike 140s, doing a stellar job so far. Ross, we've seen the likes of the bigger bikes, the Pit Bike 140s, Extremes, of course, Moto team, they'll be out on circuit as well. So it's not just a place for the younger generation. We've definitely got a place for the adults, the likes of the Pit Bikes, the Extremes, the Moto teams, and the Senior Mini Motos.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously everyone is welcome here at FAB-Racing, and it's great to everyone of all ages. Obviously, it's mainly seemingly a junior series. Obviously, again, it's my first time here, so still getting to grips with everybody and everyone's names and the age classes and all that. But, still seemingly, a junior series where everyone's trying to progress up the bike racing ranks. But there's still, a big group of, adults here, especially on the sidecars, for example. They're all, getting on a bit, not to be too rude to them, of course. But, it's great to see, such a great community of all age groups, and it's just great to see.
Yeah, and it's also great to see Jay King. Hello, great to see you. Not too bad. How are you feeling? How's the bike?
It went really well yesterday. Nice, smooth day, no problems. It was just get on and ride. So it's really good. Apart from running out of fuel in one session was a bit my fault, being a wally. But it didn't go too bad.
And how long was your journey up here? It's a long one for you.
7 hours, 20 minutes with a caravan that had flipped over in the country lane. So we're sat behind that for a bit. But it weren't too bad. I love this track, so it's worth the long journey.
Yeah, as you say, it's a lovely circuit here, and the paddock does allow everyone to almost be together, so you get all the classes together, which is something we don't tend to see across the majority of the circuits. So, what's the feeling like in the community? We've got the pit bikes all together, you've got the moto teams all together, so it's great to see.
Yeah, it's a good community. Obviously, all us pit bike riders, we all get on. We all have a good time. Even Taylor, who's now walking past there, we all have a good time and that. So there's nothing between. It gets a bit heated on the track, but you would expect that. So and we got Josh from Senior Mini Motos racing my 125 this weekend because he won my competition on my YouTube channel. So it'd be good to see how Josh Birkin gets on a pit bike instead of a mini moto.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. But tell us a little bit more about your bikes. Obviously, you'll be in you running in both classes. You've got your pit bike, but you've also got your moto team doing very nicely. Moto team, tell us about the differences between the two.
So obviously, they are both pit bikes. It's just one has a 125 engine and one has a 140 engine. My 125 is actually my bike that you know me from seasons previous, from winning the championships, and that's my old bike. And when Moto decided to give me a bike for this season, I didn't want to leave that one alone, so I thought 125 engine in it, and it can be used as a moto team bike. So they're pretty much the same. Moto frame's slightly different to my old one, but apart from that, they're the same bike, just different engine size. A bit like 1,000 and a 600. If you understand the big bikes.
Well, just about. But, one final thing. Obviously, you've been out on circuit, you've done qualifying, and what are you thinking? Taylor Lawrence, definitely the one to beat this weekend?
Taylor and Reese are going really quick. I think Taylor might have the edge on me and Reese, but I think me and Reese are going to have some good battles. But it's racing. You never know what can happen. We know at Rowrah the weather can be a bit hit and miss, so I'm hoping the rain does come tomorrow. So it'd be good if it does. But it should be a good weekend. I think we're going to get some podiums, which is the main thing.
Well, good luck. Great to see you. And, that's Jamie King. And Jamie, who will definitely be wanting the rain to come down because he's very much got webbed feet. And, who have we got hanging out down here that is trying to get behind the camera? But we've got riders that are enjoying themselves in the paddock, just wanting to have a quick glance at the guys on the camera. And, as we make our way throughout the rest of the paddock, Ross, as you've seen, we've got the pit bikes are out there. They had a quick run out, and you were just having a look out the window as we were making our way through the paddock. What do you think for the pit bikes? You were noticing how good Taylor was looking on that bike.
Oh yeah, I mean the bikes themselves are very unique. Obviously, they can use a lot of the curbs which the other bikes can't use. They can really hop over the curbs, run onto the grass as well on some occasions. So you can really use them in ways that the other bikes can't. Taylor was looking very, very quick out there this morning. Immediately we were sitting just outside turn 1, and immediately you could see that his commitment through that corner was just unparalleled. It was really strong. And again, the pit bikes through there, they can hop on the curbs, they can run on the grass, they can really push the limits of the track and the riders as well. So, and again, he was the one, just watching from turn 1, he was the rider who was looking like he's going to be the one to beat out there today. But then again, as we've been saying, possibly going to rain tomorrow, and when the rain comes, it's the great equaliser. It all goes out the window. So today, while he may be the man to beat, tomorrow it could be anybody's game.
Yeah, very much so. And that is the best thing about Rowrah, is the best thing about FAB. You never quite know what's going to happen. But, it is the 5th round of the season. We're well over halfway through this one. Just 2 rounds to go after the end of this one. And it has been a sensational season so far. 2 rounds, of course, back at Lid. Then, of course, we had the likes of Red Lodge. We had the likes of Clay Pigeon as well. So we've been to many, many different circuits that have allowed us to really sample some different racing styles, some different circuit styles. And Rowrah does open up the grids all throughout all categories to this sort of, it's got long straights, it's got tight hairpins. It really does allow some very, very good overtaking in very mixed conditions. And well, I'm really looking forward to this weekend, because Rowrah last time we did have wet conditions pretty much throughout the weekend, and it dried up a little bit, but we saw a sensational MKGP 70 race, and well, we've got to watch out for that. The premier class of FAB, they'll be out on circuit. Mason Foster's been looking very, very good so far this season. Can he catch up to the likes of Ethan Sparks? And well, Ethan, he's leading the championship. Mason, however, does he have his number, as a number of the senior mini motos guys hanging out as they usually do? As well, it is, as Bernie Hook said a little while ago, it is a fantastic community here that we have in FAB. Everyone helping each other out, getting the bikes ready, and just making sure that everything is in good condition to get out on circuit. And well, that's the best thing about it. It's such a community feeling. You've been here for such a short amount of time, but you can already sense it, that you come around, everyone's here, they've got a smile, they're willing to help each other out. There's people that are on minis helping out on people on Metro Kits, there's people on bit bikes helping out people on sidecars.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the great thing about FAB. You know, what I've noticed immediately is rivals track, friends off it. Everybody here is just helping each other out, making sure, because everyone's here to race. And yeah, you know, obviously you may have disagreements on the track, but you know, off the track, you're not racing anymore. So why is there any point getting angry? You always want to make sure you're competitors. You know, you all want to be out there competing. And you know, why would you rather? Yeah, obviously it's great, you know, running off into the distance, scoring a load of points, and congratulations, you're champion. But you know, it's fun to race with other riders. So a lot of guys are coming in the mentality, yeah, you know, I could just keep to myself, work on the bike, make sure it's all perfect, and go away and win. But I could have a lot more fun just, you know, hanging back, helping each other out, you know, pushing forward as a community, and you know, just getting out there where you have a great weekend of racing. And that's just what, you know, what I've taken from, frankly, the day and a half that I've been here at the paddock. And it is just really spectacular to see from the whole community.
Yeah, and of course, FAB is part of the Road To MotoGP programme. It's an official partner of the British Superbikes, and we've seen a graduate in the Red Bull Rookies every year of their existence. And I'm just going to quickly try and grab Jason Pugh before he rolls out. Jason, just before you roll the beautiful bike, one of my favourite liveries in the paddock. Tell us a little bit more about tell us a little bit more about your Moto Team bike, and equally how you went into racing.
Oh God, how I got into racing?
Yeah, well, you've got as much time as you want.
I started doing this in '92 because I went to the BMF in Peterborough, and the guy didn't turn. One of the teammates didn't turn, and I filled in. And then he said, "You want to come do this?" So I've been doing variations of this since then. But I've been racing with Keith late '90s, I think. So it's his bike. I get on it and ride it. So I'm just pretty lucky. So that's it, really.
And it's a unique category, Moto Team, because you can literally sit anyone on the bike to score the points. So yes. We've seen some stand-ins for you so far this season. So yeah, it was
actually it was me.
Or was it you?
I didn't change your name.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. It really does.
Unless I was not doing well, then it was.
It's a commentary curse, Moto Team. You never know who's on the bike. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about the category itself.
Well, for me, it's bikes with big wheels. Now we've got the ones with the pit bikes and that, which make it hard work for me. So, but like I say, anything 2 strokes, race frames, road bikes, it's a bit of everything. It's harder work against the little wheel guys, but it's anything that pushes you is good. So I like it. I'm hanging in there, but it's getting harder.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it usually does that. But you had a good run here around last year. So
2 out of 3.
Yeah, you've got to be looking forward to this weekend.
I feel I threw away the second one, so yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't know what I'm going to do about a couple of these boys, because Jay King's in there, he's hard work. Jacko, he's on the pit bikes, but yeah, I'm hoping I can go for 3 out of 3 this time. So yeah, I'm still a bit gutted about the second one last time. So yeah, that was my weekend. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good.
Perfect. Well, that was Jason Pugh. He'll be out on the 8 in the Moto Team. He had a really, really good run here at Rowrah last time around, and the FAB-Racing number 8 bike and Moto Team is, as we've said before, one of the most confusing categories, but one of the most exciting to watch. It really does allow the guys to essentially just jump on a bike, and it is the bike that scores the points, not the rider. So you can find that if you'd like to get involved in racing, well, you can go to FAB-Racing's Facebook page, you can go to their website, and you can check out the registration details. And if you'd like to just get involved, then it is the best place to come and just test yourself out in a competitive but also a very fun environment. I believe this is Paddy Moore that we've got down there. We've got one of the riders on the Metro Kits. Hey, you right for a quick chat? So how's the bike feeling? You've been out and had a couple of sessions so far?
Yeah, it's not bad. I need to get on the gas a little early and brake a bit later, but other than that, it's going good.
So who you think is going to be your main rivals this weekend? Who's looking good?
Well, obviously I want to be at the front with like Ethan and Philip, but it's really hard. But I want to be like top 8 this weekend, but I'm really struggling.
This circuit allows you to open up the bike a little bit down the straights toward the hairpin, so are you enjoying being out there in Rowrah?
Yeah.
And, well, realistic goal for the end of the weekend then, where do you think you'd like to be?
I'd like a top 10, but then I'd like 8th or a top 8, but it's going to be hard.
Well, good luck. Hopefully we'll see some decent results there. The red, white, or orangey, white and blue livery on one of the Metro Kit bikes there as we make our way through the rest of the paddock as the Moto teams get ready to send themselves out on circuit at this Rowrah circuit up in the Lake District. It is very much out of the way, but if you get a chance to come and see it, you have to. It's stunning, right in the middle of the Lake District, not too far from the coast either. So if you want to come for a holiday and see some racing, well, come up to Rowrah. Ross, well, we've been through the paddock. You've seen some of the riders. We've got Ethan Sparks leading the championship in the MKGP 70s. They're just making their way behind us. You've got to be looking forward to that when the Premier Class of Fab.
Oh, awesome. I'm just looking forward to the whole weekend of racing. Again, just watching the practice sessions yesterday, it was awesome to watch. You know, it's a great circuit. The racing's always great here at Fab. You know, coming in, the championships are hotting up. You know, it's going to be super tight racing. The weather's obviously very unpredictable. And with the wind here, it's obviously, Rowrah is not in a great place, really. It's kind of pit almost. So the wind is quite a windy circuit, and it's not too bad at the moment. It was really bad yesterday. It's probably going to pick up again today. So the conditions are really against the riders here today. So it's really just going to be an amazing weekend of racing. I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and I just want to quickly grab Ethan Sparks leading the championship in the MKGP 70s. I want to find out how he's feeling, and I'm going to walk towards him ominously and hope that he doesn't start walking away. Ethan, I'm going to grab you for 2 seconds. The man leading the championship in the 70s. How are you feeling? You've got Mason Foster hot on your heels in the championship. How are you feeling coming to Rowrah?
A little bit stressed, but I like Rowrah track and I've always done well here, so I'm feeling like I could get 3 wins.
As you say, you've done well here. You did well here last season on the mini bike and up on the Metro Kit as well. So you've had a couple of sessions out there. Mason was looking quick yesterday. Philip was also looking quick. So what are you thinking you've got to do to beat him this weekend?
I think I just got to get a good start and just stay in front of them.
And that was something that Mason was getting really good, decent starts back at Clay Pigeon. For you, what's the game plan for him? Is it pretty much just try and stay ahead of Mason, or is it just trying to pick up points throughout the weekend?
I think I got to stay ahead of Mason and get some points on him.
Well, good luck. That's Ethan Sparks leading the championship in the MKGP 70s. He'll be out there on circuit, and the battle is heating up in the 70s, and it is heating up across the entire Fab paddock. So make sure you join us throughout the rest of the weekend. Ross, well, what can we say? It's going to be a brilliant weekend's racing here from Rowrah. What race are you looking forward to?
Well, you know, the 70s, of course, they were the ones. That was just when I happened to have free time when we're setting everything up. They were the ones I was watching yesterday, so they're the ones I'm kind of most familiar. But you know, it's kind of the top class coming this weekend. But again, every class is going to be superb around here. So ultimately, I'm just looking forward to a great weekend of racing.
Here's more interviews from some of the riders that we caught out of throughout the paddock the rest of Friday. And of course, myself, Gareth Hall, and Ross McIntyre will be bringing you commentary all weekend long here from Rowrah.
Right, so we're here with Ronnie Harrison in the GP70s. Ronnie, how are you enjoying Rowrah on this rather windy but quite sunny Friday?
It's a good circuit. I'm a little bit off the pace, so I'm just slowly building up today, trying to find places to improve my time, ready for qualifying tomorrow.
Yeah, that's great to hear. But I mean, again though, obviously it's due to rain tomorrow and Sunday, so potentially being off the pace today isn't too much of a big deal?
No, I like the wet. I picked up my first podium last round in the wet, so I think I'm going to still try and find pace today, of course, just in case, but if it is wet, I think I have good chances of podiums.
And how does the bike change in the wet? I mean, obviously, you know, they say that rain is the great equaliser of motorsport. You know, how does it make a difference, you know, on the throttle, into the braking and the corners?
Well, on this track, there's a lot of hairpins and straights. The go-karts put down a lot of rubber.
So coming into the hairpins, it's usually quite slippery. But in the track, on the track, in the wet, less grip, and you have to be more forgiving to the bike, and you have to be really smooth, and you have to make sure you're just more careful.
And how did the championship going so far, coming into this round?
I had a really good first round and second round. The third round didn't go quite to plan. I was quite a way off the pace, but I settled in fourth, but Clayton Edmonds and Ben Jolliffe quite behind, so I need to try and keep them at bay. But I think if I can get some really good positions in the next few rounds, I think I could get a podium in the championship.
Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck for this weekend and for the future.
Thank you.
So, standing here with the AC40 Pro class, it's quite a windy day here at Rowrah. How much is that affecting the bike out on track?
A lot, especially on the straights, because obviously you have to tuck on the straights, but now we have to tuck on the corners as well, so it's really windy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm the one standing here and I'm already not enjoying myself. You're actually out there riding, and especially the weekend as well. It's expected to rain quite heavily tomorrow and Sunday. Do you think that's going to make it even worse?
A bit, but I really like it in the wet, so hopefully I'll do better in the wet than I do in the dry.
You're possibly the first person I've ever heard say they prefer it in the wet than the dry. Is there any reasoning behind that?
Yeah, because, well, it's the UK, it rains all the time.
That's fair enough. I mean, how much do you think the rain will change the circuit in general? Obviously, tracks change a lot between the wet and the dry, and Rowrah, it's very undulating through the corner. Do you think some corners going to be very tricky once it starts coming down?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tricky because there's loads of really hard bends, so I'm just not going to do anything too sudden.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I mean, obviously, if it's raining in the race as well, is the kind of order of the day just trying to avoid the accidents that are inevitably going to happen?
Yeah, last time we were here I crashed while I stood out, so hopefully I won't do that this time.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Thank you very much, Chloe, and good luck out there.
Thank you.
Cameron, again, we're out through the day here on the Friday. How's it been going for you?
All right. I mean, my transponder's not been working for me or my sister, but other than that, fine.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Is it a team problem or is it just bad luck for both of you?
I don't know. Usually when you put it on charge, there's 3 green lights, but there's only one, and I don't know.
Oh, fix the charger then, maybe.
I've used 3 chargers.
Well, hopefully you can solve that issue, but, you're half a day down, half the day to go. This is probably the one, dry day of running we're going to get here at Rowrah, so you're just trying to make the most of that.
Oh, no, I love the wet.
You're the second person who said that to me. Out of the 3 people asked, 2 of you, why do you like the wet so much? No, usually people hate it.
Well, I'm smooth, okay? And last year it was wet, and I put it on the second row in qualifying.
So you're confident going in if the heavens open then?
Oh, I'm not confident, but I'm more confident than if it was dry.
That's fair enough. Here at Rowrah as well, is this a track that you're comfortable with? It's a very tricky circuit, very fast, can be very precise through a lot of the corners. Is that something you're good at as well?
I guess, not obviously the best, but working on it.
Yeah, of course. And again, with the rain coming down, tomorrow, yeah, it's good being smooth. Yeah, it's good, good that you're comfortable. Well, not comfortable. You enjoy the wet. But is it simply going to be a case of just avoiding the accidents and trying to stay on the road?
When I used to ride the rookies, my dad used to say, to finish first you have to finish.
Well, of course, that's classic. Thank you very much, and good luck out there.
Thank you.
So starting with Ben, and again, the cloud's coming over, it's windy, but it's the one possibly dry day we're going to get running here at Rowrah. Are you trying to make the most of that?
Yeah, try to get as much practice in as I can, really.
Yeah, that's understandable. And how's practice gone for you in general? Has it been a pretty solid day? How's the bike feeling?
It's been a pretty good day, but I crashed last session, so...
Now, is the bike all okay? Is it all repaired, or...?
Yeah, the bike's fine, but...
Yeah, just dented your confidence a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Rowrah is a circuit where you have to be, confident in the bike, confident in your own ability, and especially when it's going to rain over the weekend, that's going to be increased twofold. So do you think, the people who are going to perform well over the race days, it's just going to be whoever's got the most confidence?
Yeah, whoever's got the most confidence in the braking.
Yeah, is it just the braking in specifically, or maybe on the throttle as well? Would that be something?
Just getting on the throttle early and braking hard.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, again, in the wet, the bikes, the conditions, it all changes so much. Is it something you're looking forward to, or just a bit scared for?
Well, I did alright last round in the wet, so I don't really mind.
Well, let's hope you do all right this time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
So here with Austin Johnson, who again, one of the riders who's literally doing everything here today. How are you enjoying Rowrah?
Good. It's not my favourite track, but I'm getting on.
And you're doing lots of different classes, lots of different bikes. How are you finding, coping with so much to do?
It's quite easy. I mean, we're not going to practice on the pro bikes because they're not the best bikes, but we're going to just carry on riding and see what happens.
What you want to hear, carry on riding. And on the subject of riding, how are you enjoying it out there today? You said Rowrah's not your favourite, but it's still a fun little track. It's quite tricky, quite precise as well. Is the running going okay?
Yeah, it's quite good, but it's my first time on a 50, so I keep accidentally skipping some gears, but I'm still doing all right.
I mean, you seem to be doing okay for the first time on 50s. It's all part of the learning process. Are you enjoying the 50s?
Yeah. It's just a bit difficult to do some stuff, really. Like figuring out how to change gear and stuff.
Well, it's all part of the learning process, isn't it? Thank you very much for joining us and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
So here with Archie O'Brien, who's basically doing every class at this point. Archie, you're doing multiple classes, but so far it's been a pretty successful year to you. Now we're heading for Rowrah. How are you feeling overall?
I feel really happy, obviously, leading both championships. There was a bit of pressure here and there, but I feel more confident now that we're at one of my stronger tracks.
Yeah, of course. I mean, leading both championships, said a lot of pressure. Do you think you've coped with that well?
Here and there, because sometimes I've felt a bit too pressured and other times I've just not cared about it. So.
Well, as you said, you're leading both championships, so it's certainly not bad. And you mentioned, Rowrah was one of your stronger tracks. What do you like so much about it here?
Well, it's
Hello and welcome back to the afternoon session. It is round 5, the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships, and we are here for AC40 rookie action. I am joined by Ross McIntyre and Zach Speed Pennegar. My name is Gareth Hall, and we are bringing you all the commentary. Zach, welcome back. Great to have you. We've got the third race of the weekend. Oliver Hall on pole position for this one. Bradley Curtis is second, Beth Ashby in third with Harley Baker in fourth, Jensen Bishop and Rex Austin fifth and sixth with Annabelle McCarthy, Matt Thomas, Chloe Gleeson, Matt Jennings, Josh Perkins, Seth Mason-Howard, Archie Hooper, Taylor Riley and Peyton Richards. Your grid for this third and final race of the weekend for the AC40 rookies as they get ready to kick off their final one before they can head back home. And well, it's Oliver Hall that's taken the opening 2 wins of the weekend. What can he do from pole position? Lights on, lights off, and it's a good start from Oliver. Once again, Bradley trying to come alongside him into T1, but Oliver, whole shot, takes the lead into T1.
Indeed, great start there by Ollie Hall. Did everything he needed to do once again, and we saw that earlier, seeing that now. And it was just a great start to take the lead away. Obviously, Zach, you'd be out there if you hadn't done your collarbone in on Friday. You know Ollie Hall's a great rider, isn't he? You know. What's your opinion on him?
Ollie always a quick ride. He's a little bit wilder. He goes with the bike. If the bike goes one corner, he'll go with it. He's a funny lad, he is.
As everyone makes their way through Ardales for the first time, and well, as you say, it is Oliver Hall leading away from Bradley Curtis. A good getaway there. That's the 1-1-3 of Annabelle McCarthy trying to look to the inside of Jensen Bishop. Jensen, who went down in race 2, is being challenged by Annabelle. Annabelle is having a much better weekend. She's had the best result of the season so far, 4th in race 1. And well, she's challenging up in towards the top 5 now as she can get past Jensen, but they're all filtering through this first lap in the AC40 rookies, the 3rd round of their weekend. And Zach, you're usually on the grid. We've seen you all throughout the season taking podiums, taking wins. Let us know why you're not racing.
I'm not racing because at the back corner high-sided and landed on my collarbone and broke it.
That's it. And well, mistakes can happen, and but you were back up. You got back with a sling around you, and well, he was the first one to put his hand up and say, "I'll come into the comedy box and be a pro in there as well as a pro on the bike." So it's been great having you all weekend long. Really enjoyed it, and he's always welcome back. But leading away is still Oliver Hall, Bradley Curtis in 2nd position, and Matthew Thomas in 3rd. And you've been a fan of Bradley all weekend long, wanting him to take points off of Matthew Thomas. You want to hold on to your 2nd in the championship.
Yep. It doesn't even look like nobody's moving. It's so glitchy.
So, well, it's Oliver Holt leading away. Bradley Curtis is 2nd. Matt Thomas, Harley Baker up in 3rd. Beth Ashby now dropping down into 4th position. Jensen Bishop and last time around, Rex Austin and Annabelle McCarthy swapping places. Annabelle down to 8th position now. And you were saying in race 2 that Rex is very, very quick when he's on the bike. I'd like to race up against him.
It is quite fun. He does do risky overtakes on you, especially if it's near the end. You can tell if he's mad. He gets really quick if he's mad, and he could do risky overtakes.
And what do you do in between rounds? Do you get the chance to go and do some practice around some other circuits, or is it just race to race for you?
I sometimes get some practice. Probably not going to be as much for next round because I've got this broken collarbone.
No, but I'm sure you'll be back and looking to get a decent result when you are here next on circuit, which of course will be back for Ella Park, and then it will be Llandau in South Wales afterwards. So watch out for Speed Penegal when he's back on circuit. But it is still Oliver Hall leading away. But last time around, Matt Thomas, fastest of all. That gap now between Oliver and Bradley, 1/10 of a second, and it is closing in. So Bradley really starting to put the pressure in on Oliver Hall. Oliver, of course, the only 2 race wins of the weekend. But, well, don't count out Bradley Curtis. Bradley Curtis, he's been on the podium every race for the previous 3 or 4
Oliver's
races.
off. Matthew's off. No, that's not Matthew. Archie.
Yeah, a few riders going down throughout the different corners.
Please, not Oliver. Is that Oliver?
I don't think Ollie Hall has gone down.
Yes, he has.
No, he has. So Ollie Hall's gone down. Matthew Thomas takes the lead of the race on the 128 ride. Is still struggling with the tricky condition. It has been raining all morning, and it is still drizzling out there. So yeah, as you said, Matthew getting lucky there with Ollie Hall going down, falling down to 8th place, 9th place by the looks of things. So he leads this race on the 128. Ollie Hall still dropping places. So he's really had a big fall there and lost a lot of time and a lot of positions.
Yeah, as Speed alongside me. Know who he's supporting today. He wants to make sure certain people pick up certain points, and well, it's the non-filter of a racer, and that's what we love to see and to hear in the commentary box. Well, it is now Matthew Thomas leading Baker. Beth Ashby now up into a podium position. She's got a 1 second advantage ahead of Rex Austin. Chloe Gleason's having a good run. Chloe, who's racing up in the top 5, and well, she's she had a 6th in race 1. She's had a solid run in race 2 and a 5th in race 3, so she's starting to pick up the pace as well. So it's great to see Chloe having a good run out there. She's 13 seconds back off of Matthew, but only 1.2 off of Jensen. Annabelle McCarthy down in 8th position with Seth Mason Hayward in 9th. Peyton Richards in 10th with Josh Perkins, Archie Hooper and Matt Jennings. It looks as though that might be it for Oliver Hall. He's got a lap down now, so that's a real shame there, Zach, for Ollie.
Yeah, Ollie's worked hard for his podiums. Oh, where's Rex?
And there we go. I've got my eye in the sky looking out the window. Zach Pennegar. He's the right height for it as he's looking out the commentary box window. But well. Yeah, unfortunately for Oliver, it looks as though his streak of podiums is going to come to an end here. He's down in 14th position. We'll see if he's still circulating. Last time around, in fact, he is. He was a 1:12 last time around, so he is actually going fastest than anyone else on circuit, but he is a couple of laps down, so it's a real shame there for the three. Bethany Ashby going down as well. She was running in second position. She'd just overtaken Harley Baker.
No, she's not.
After that, no, she's not at all. But yeah, so a number of the riders going down in this one. Tricky conditions. Zach, what's it like when these conditions where it's not raining, but it's still very slippery and greasy out there?
It's quite a big difference, because if the track's not wet, you can easily find the grippy line, but when there's all puddles, there's not many grippy lines left because puddles are all over it.
Yeah, and Ross, we've seen this throughout the rookies. They're the ones that go out and trailblaze. Of course, over the lunch break, there was only really one sidecar going out and kind of trying to disperse any of the water that had been laid down at the end of the second races. So these guys going out there and just having to test the waters.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously you went out there, you've experienced conditions now on the sidecar. You all pointed and laughed and had a good time, yourself included, of course. But yeah, it is very, very tricky out there. As you said, it's still raining. It's only been a light drizzle. It's been consistently drizzling all day, but it's just been coming down. And obviously, these bikes, they're small. They've only got two wheels because they're a bike, so they don't disperse any of the water that's on the racing line. So all the water that's fallen on the track throughout the day is just stayed, and that includes the rain from overnight as well. It was raining quite heavily overnight, we believe. So there is barely any grip out there, and obviously when the rain comes down, it completely changes the nature of the track as well. Into the hairpins, there's a lot of rubber that gets put down by the go-karts that race around here. So into the hairpins, it just becomes an ice rink. That's why we're seeing so many people go off down into Arsdales, because it's literally just an ice rink down there. There is no grip whatsoever.
No, but it is the 128 Matthew Thomas who's leading away with a 12.8 second advantage over Rex Austin. Yeah, so Rex Austin last time around 0.6 of a second slower than Matthew, so Matthew extending that lead out at the front. But Rex is coming under threat from Harley. So Harley, he's quite new to the series, but doing very well since he joined.
Yeah, Harley's quite a big kid, he is.
Oh, that's a big
Harley.
accident, yeah, and that is Harley. Harley's down. That is a big accident there, and he's getting back up. Harley Baker able to get back up. Hopefully the bike's able to still go around, but that is a big accident.
Harley normally used to battle with Jensen, and Jensen yesterday said, I want to get a shower soon, and a small one, and he said, he's already got, how long is this bloody shower for him?
So,
long.
with 2 laps left to go, it's about to be a 1.5. Matthew Thomas leading from Rex Austin, Harley Baker, Chloe Gleason, of course, Harley Baker going down, so that will promote Chloe Gleason up onto a podium. And Chloe, well, her weekend is getting better and better and better. Can she finish on the podium? We've got a lap and a half left to go. So Matthew Thomas is about to come around and surely start his final lap. Rex Austin on the 9-1 is holding on to second position, and then we've got Chloe Gleason, Bradley Curtis, Jensen Bishop, who's dropped down a couple of positions. He's dropped down now behind Bradley Curtis. Beth Ashby, after that fall earlier on, has recovered back to 7th position. Then we've got Seth Mason Hayward, Annabelle McCarthy and Peyton Richards in your top 10. Josh Perkins, Archie Hooper and Matt Jennings outside in the 10 to 13. Taylor Riley is a lap down a lot. Oliver Hoyle looks as though he's called a day on his race out of this one.
Oliver Hoyle is having a little extra on the whole track. Excised.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Oliver. He's not going to make it a hat-trick of wins, but last lap flag there for Matt Thomas. But it is
Rex got him.
Yeah, so Rex Austin has moved past Matthew Thomas on this last lap, the 128 and the 991. So they're coming around towards the final few corners. And Zach Pennegar is going absolutely mad, jumping up and down as he's watching Rex trying to take points off of Matthew Thomas. He wants second in this championship, and he knows that Matthew Thomas is hot on his heels. So Pennegar, Rex Austin to close in.
Rex.
And he's trying his very best, but right now it is looking like it is going to be Matthew Thomas who's going to bring it home as they come into the final few corners now. This is the last lap. This is the last chance for Rex Tosted. He's going to try and dive down the inside, but he's not able to do it at all. It's Matthew Thomas who's going to come, and it's the checkered flag out. And it is Rex Austin who takes the win here.
Oliver does the checkered flag.
And it looks like Ollie Hall's doing the checkered flag, so showing a bit of competitive spirit there, even though his final race of the weekend didn't quite go the way that he wanted. It is Ollie Hall waving the checkered flag, and it's Bradley Curtis comes home in P3. Chloe Gleason just missing out